Chapter 32-37. Chu Qingkong flew out and landed heavily on the fighting ring. He vomited blood and dozens of bones were broken. He could not even maintain the war god body and the overbearing god spear. The overbearing god spear was the first to disappear. His body returned to normal. Buzz. Lu Ming did not plan to let Chu Qingkong go. The gate of domination shrunk and continued to press down on Chu Qingkong. Chu Qingkong's body was bent like a bow. All his internal organs were shattered. Then, Lu Ming stepped on Chu Qingkong's face. "Ah, let me go." Chu Qingkong struggled crazily and kept roaring. His eyes were full of humiliation. He was a dignified genius, the strongest successor in the history of the war god family. Lu Ming had stepped on the giant's face in front of everyone. This was a great insult. He could not wait to tear Lu Ming into pieces. Bang! Lu Ming stomped hard on Chu Qingkong's face. Chu Qingkong's face was immediately in close contact with the ground. Blood splattered everywhere and all his teeth flew out. Just the word, miserable, was enough to describe it. "Ah, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your whole family. You damn bastard." Chu Qingkong roared hysterically. He had gone completely crazy. He was so mighty before, looking down on Lu Ming like an ant. He did not take Lu Ming seriously and even said that he would torture Lu Ming to death. But the result was the complete opposite. It was a great contrast. As proud as he was, he could not take it anymore. His self-esteem was severely damaged. In comparison, he was a joke, a laughable joke. This brat deserves to die. He deserves to die. Outside, the war god family's elders also roared angrily. They were like rampaging lions, their hair and beards all fluttering about. What? The younger generation is no match for him, so the older generation wants to step up. Is this the style of the war god family? 9 Extremes Heavenly King glanced at the people of the war god family coldly. His tone was full of sarcasm, which made the people of the war god family pale. "Jiao Dao, it seems that you are happy for nothing. Now that Chu Qingkong has been defeated and Lu Ming has entered the top 3, you are the loser of our bet." The 9 Extinction Heavenly King looked at the 9 Sabers Heavenly King with a smile on his face. To be honest, the fact that Lu Ming was able to defeat Chu Qingkong was also out of his expectations. At the moment he was in a very good mood. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King's expression was extremely ugly. For a moment, he did not know how to respond. "Oh, I got it. The competition isn't over yet. There might be more variables," 9 Extinction Heavenly King said coldly. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King was so angry that he almost vomited blood. What kind of change was there? Chu Qingkong was trampled under Lu Ming's feet like a dead dog. What else could there be? Even if Lu Ming continued to challenge Di Jiani and Su Wuya and was defeated, he would still be in 3rd place. The 9 Extinction Heavenly King was openly mocking him. 10 Starcrux pills, here you go." The 9 Sabers Heavenly King gritted his teeth and took out 10 Starcrux pills from his storage ring with trembling hands. He threw them to the 9 Extinction Heavenly King and his heart was bleeding. Even though he was a Heavenly King, 10 Starcrux pills were enough to make him bleed. It was like cutting his flesh. By the side, the other Sir God experts looked at the 9 Extinction Heavenly King with envy. An ordinary Sir God would not be able to get 1 Starcrux pill, let alone 10. "Ah, you are too kind. I shall accept it then." The 9 Extinction Heavenly King laughed heartily and kept the pills. The 9 Sabers Heavenly King wished he could stomp on the 9 Extinction Heavenly King's smiling face. Bam! A huge shoe print was imprinted on Chu Qingkong's face. Chu Qingkong's face was deformed. He roared and struggled, wanting to blow himself up. Unfortunately, he was restrained by Lu Ming and could not blow himself up. "How dare you threaten me? Apologize and admit your mistake." Lu Ming's face was cold as he stomped on Chu Qingkong with his shoe. "Ah, don't even think about it. I will tear you into pieces," Chu Qingkong roared. Bam, bam. What greeted him was Lu Ming's ruthless kick. Stop. Little brats, stop." The experts of the war god family outside roared. Their voices penetrated the spherical world and Lu Ming and the others could hear them. "Nonsense. Let him apologize, admit his mistake, and say that he is trash. Lu Ming curled his lips. The other party wanted to kill him. Lu Ming would not show any mercy to such an enemy. He wanted to beat the other party until he was convinced. At first, Chu Qingkong was still struggling. Slowly he gave in. He had no choice. Lu Ming was stubborn and unafraid of his threats. If he continued to struggle, he would only be tortured by Lu Ming. For Chu Qingkong, this situation was like a year. I was wrong. I shouldn't have targeted you. I was blind. I am trash. In the end, Chu Qingkong said those words in humiliation. His heart was bleeding with every word he said. What a humiliation! What a great humiliation! The experts of the war god family all looked gloomy. They were emitting cold, murderous intent. The war god family used to be glorious. They were known as the war god of the Taishu dynasty. Although they had declined, they were still proud of their identity. Chu Qingkong was known as the strongest genius in the history of the war god family. He represented the face of the war god family. Chu Qingkong was slapped in the face, which meant that the war god family was slapped in the face. One could imagine how they felt. That's more like it, Lu Ming smiled faintly. With a kick, he sent Chu Qingkong flying out of the fighting ring. Half of Chu Qingkong's battle chi was absorbed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming won this battle. After winning this battle, Lu Ming had already secured the top 3 positions. There was finally hope for Lan Shang. Phew! Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief and finally relaxed. To be honest, this battle was not easy. The genius of the Taishu dynasty was more powerful than Lu Ming had imagined. This time, Lu Ming was lucky. Plus, he had his own plan. He did not hunt for much battle chi at the beginning, so his ranking was low. He fought his way up and finally upgraded his battle suit. That was how he defeated Chu Qingkong. To be honest, if his battle suit was the same as Chu Qingkong's, he might not be able to defeat Chu Qingkong. In addition, Yijifan was also very strong. If he had not been defeated by Su Wuxia, Lu Ming would not be confident to defeat him. No matter what, he had finally gotten into the top 3 this time. Lu Ming won this battle. Lu Ming, do you want to continue? The Grand Preceptor asked. Although the Preceptor was also very unhappy with Lu Ming, he was experienced and astute. There was no obvious change in his attitude. Everyone's heart trembled. Would Lu Ming continue to challenge him? They were looking forward to it. However, they were disappointed. Lu Ming shook his head and said, I'm not challenging anymore. Since he had gotten into the top 3, there was no need to continue. To be honest, he was not confident to continue. Su Wuxia was at the peak of the 4th Heaven King God realm. Even with the help of the golden battle suit, it would be difficult for him to defeat Su Wuxia. Not to mention Di Jianni. He was probably no match for him. His goal was to get into the top 3. That was enough. Chapter 32-38. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief when they heard that Lu Ming wasn't challenging anymore. They were afraid that Lu Ming would continue to challenge and reveal even more powerful trump cards. If that happened, they would be in a mess. He couldn't be any more perverted, or they wouldn't be able to take it. Alright, then I announce that this meeting is over. You can come out now. The Imperial Advisor's voice reverberated throughout the hall. He then pressed his hand down, and a ray of light fell on the spherical world. Instantly, a black vortex appeared above Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming and the rest rushed into the vortex. In the next instant, everyone in the spherical world appeared outside the spherical world. The Imperial Advisor waved his hand and kept the spherical world. The top 10 this time, come here to receive your Majesty's reward. The Imperial Advisor announced again. He then retreated behind the Saint Emperor and stood respectfully. Lu Ming, Di Jianni, Su Wuxia, and the rest of the top 10 walked to the front of the Saint Emperor and bowed with cupped fists. Greetings, Your Majesty. Dispense with the formalities. The top 10 will receive a prefecture opening token. You will be given a token. The Saint Emperor waved his hand, and 10 palace maids flew out. Each palace maid was holding a jade plate, and on the jade plate was a token. This was the prefecture opening token. In the Taishu dynasty, only those who had the prefecture opening token were qualified to open a prefecture and rule over a region. It was considered to be recognized by the government, and other experts would go and join them. You are all heroes of this era. I hope that you will develop well. I hope that there will be more heavenly kings in the future. The Saint Emperor said. Thank you, Your Majesty. Lu Ming and the rest thanked the Saint Emperor and kept the tokens. Countless people around them were envious, and they wished they could take the tokens for themselves. Also, the top 10 will receive a reward. You can make a request of me. Let's start with the third place. Lu Ming, what do you want? Just say it. The Saint Emperor looked at Lu Ming with a smile. Your Majesty, Lu Ming's condition is that Your Majesty pardon Blue Merchant's crimes and release the Blue Merchant from the Imperial Guard. Lu Ming cupped his fists and stated his conditions. Blue Merchant? The Sage Emperor frowned in confusion. No, absolutely not. Blue Merchant has committed a great crime. How can he be pardoned? Before the Saint Emperor could speak, Wu Fan shouted. They had worked so hard to capture the Blue Merchant, so how could they let the Blue Merchant go? A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He looked at Wu Fan and shouted, Wu Fan, how dare you? His Majesty the Sacred Emperor hasn't said anything yet, and you're already talking nonsense. From your tone, are you ordering the Sacred Emperor around? As soon as he said this, everyone was shocked. Wu Fan's face turned pale in an instant, revealing a look of fear. He said in a trembling voice, Don't slander me. I just feel that Blue Merchant is guilty of an extremely heinous crime, so what if he's guilty? You think that in the Taishu dynasty, the Sacred Emperor doesn't have the right to pardon someone, right? Lu Ming continued to shout. Wu Fan was so scared that he almost peed his pants. His body trembled and he was dumbfounded. This was a serious matter. Ordering the Sacred Emperor. Questioning the Sacred Emperor. Either of these was a crime punishable by death. In the Taishu dynasty, the Sacred Emperor was the sky and he could cover the sky with one hand. Even if Wu Fan was 100 times more courageous, he wouldn't dare to have such thoughts. He was used to being arrogant because his father was the state preceptor and he was a peerless talent. He usually acted high and mighty and scolded everyone he met. Just now, it was purely an instinctive reaction. He hated Lu Ming and Blue Merchant to the core. When he heard that Lu Ming wanted to pardon the Blue Merchant, he blurted it out without thinking. He didn't expect that Lu Ming would catch him red-handed. Don't talk nonsense. Wu Fan couldn't stop muttering and he was about to cry. The Sacred Emperor frowned. The state preceptor was shocked when he saw this. Bastard, kneel down and beg for forgiveness from the Sacred Emperor. The state preceptor shouted at Wu Fan. Pluck. Wu Fan's legs went soft and he knelt down in front of the Sacred Emperor. He screamed, Your Majesty, please forgive me. I really didn't mean that. Even if you gave me 10,000 times more courage, I wouldn't dare to question Your Majesty. Please forgive me, Your Majesty. Wu Fan begged with tears and snot running down his face. Your Majesty, Wu Fan really didn't mean that. He was just anxious just now. The state preceptor also pleaded with the Sacred Emperor. Then, the Crown Prince stepped forward and pleaded with him. The Sacred Emperor frowned and said, Let Wu Fan face the wall for 100 years as punishment. Thank you, Your Majesty. The state preceptor hurriedly thanked him and then scolded Wu Fan. Bastard, thank His Majesty for his kindness. Thank you, Your Majesty. Wu Fan kowtowed. The Sacred Emperor waved his hand and asked Wu Fan to leave. Wu Fan retreated to one side and roared in his heart. He was filled with endless killing intent. This time, he had really embarrassed himself. It was all Lu Ming's fault. It was all Lu Ming's fault. He blamed everything on Lu Ming. If he had the chance, he would definitely chop Lu Ming into pieces to vent his anger. What happened to Blue Merchant? When was he captured by the Imperial Guards? The Sacred Emperor asked. Immediately, a burly man in iron armor walked out and bowed. Your Majesty, it's like this. This burly man in iron armor was the commander of the Imperial Guards. He immediately told the Sacred Emperor about the Blue Merchant. I see. The Sacred Emperor muttered. He looked at Lu Ming and said, Since you have made this request, I will naturally fulfill it. I pardon Blue Merchant. Go, bring Blue Merchant here. The commander of the Imperial Guards immediately ordered one of his subordinates to bring Blue Merchant here. This time, Wu Fan did not dare to say a word. Not long after, Blue Merchant was brought here. Father! Lan Ling was extremely excited when she saw Blue Merchant. She quickly ran over. Lu Ming also hurried over. He found that Blue Merchant was fine except for his weak aura and low spirit. It was obvious that he had not been punished in the Imperial Guards. This was most likely due to Holy Thousand Heavenly King. Greetings, Your Majesty. Blue Merchant bowed to the Sacred Emperor. Blue Merchant, we haven't seen each other for a long time. The Sacred Emperor said. I'm a cripple now. I don't dare to meet Your Majesty. Blue Merchant said. I'm curious. What's the relationship between you and Lu Ming? He actually wasted a request to save you. The Sacred Emperor said casually. Many people, including Blue Merchant himself, were shocked. The Sacred Emperor was the ruler of the Taishu dynasty. His casual words often had a deep meaning. Moreover, Blue Merchant's identity was too sensitive. He was Jingyu's teacher, and Jingyu had committed a serious crime back then. However, Lu Ming did not hesitate to waste a chance to make a request to the king in order to save Lan Shang. What was the relationship between Lu Ming and Blue Merchant? Or was there a relationship between Lu Ming and Jingyu? In an instant, many people thought of many things. Your Majesty, Lu Ming is my son-in-law. He and my daughter are in love with each other. Blue Merchant bowed and said. Oh. The Sacred Emperor said softly. At this moment, Lan Ling stepped forward and bowed. Then, she removed her disguise and returned to her original appearance. Chapter 32-39. When Lan Ling regained her original appearance, many people's eyes lit up and they were stunned. You are indeed a peerless beauty. You and Lu Ming are a match made in heaven. The Saint Emperor smiled. Since he was the son-in-law of Blue Merchant, it made sense for him to save Blue Merchant at all costs. Hence, no one thought much of it. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. At this time, he could only brace himself and admit it. Otherwise, if the Saint Emperor suspected that he was related to him, it would be troublesome. Damn it! When Wu Fan saw Lan Ling's appearance, he roared in his heart. His eyes were burning with anger. When he thought of how a beauty like Lan Ling had become Lu Ming's woman, his eyes turned red with jealousy. Lu Ming is really lucky. I heard that Autumn Moon is also his wife. It's normal for a man to have multiple wives. However, it's rare to have two such beautiful women as his wife. It's a great joy in life. Many people sighed. Some young men especially were envious and jealous. Many young women sighed. Lu Ming was a supreme talent and yet he was already married. It was a pity that they no longer had a chance. Su Weia, do you have any requests? The Saint Emperor turned to Su Weia and asked. After Su Weia made a request, it was Emperor Sword's turn to make a request. Their requests would not be too excessive. Although they could make any request, they naturally would not make requests that were too excessive. If their requests made the Saint Emperor have a bad impression of them, they would lose more than they gained. Hence, the Saint Emperor agreed to their requests without hesitation. Alright, the conference has come to a successful end. The Taishu dynasty has produced many supreme talents. Congratulations! I will be holding a grand banquet for 3 days. Everyone come. The Saint Emperor's voice was heard. Thank you, Saint Emperor. Everyone cupped their fists and thanked him. The 3-day banquet was a celebration for the entire nation. After the banquet ended, Lu Ming, Autumn Moon, Lan Ling, and Blue Merchant returned to their residence. They would report to the Taishu Imperial Family Academy 3 days later. Lan Shu, how's your body? Lu Ming asked worriedly. He could see that Blue Merchant's body was not in good condition. His soul power was much weaker than before. My soul was injured in the battle that day. However, it's nothing serious. You don't have to worry. Blue Merchant smiled. Although Lan Shang said that, Lu Ming knew that Lan Shang's injuries were not light. Just as he had said, it would be very difficult for his soul to recover. Lan Shu, is there any way for you? Lu Ming asked. Treasures that can heal one's soul are extremely rare. There's no need to force it now. Lu Ming, your goal now is to cultivate well. Once your cultivation reaches a certain level, you can establish your own family and expand your influence. When you have enough strength, you can overturn Jianghu's case. Blue Merchant said. Lu Ming nodded. Although he had obtained the token to establish a family and Autumn Moon had one as well, there were 2 tokens in total. However, if he wanted to establish a family, he had to increase his cultivation first. To establish a family, he had to be at least in the 4th layer of the Divine King Realm or even the 7th layer of the Divine King Realm. Lu Ming's cultivation was still low. Your priority now is to cultivate well in the Taishu Imperial Family Academy and use the resources there to increase your strength quickly. I will find some time to help you ask about the primordial idol. The primordial idol is a must for establishing a family, Blue Merchant said. Primordial idol? Lu Ming was puzzled. That's right. It's not that easy to establish a family. First, you have to obtain the token to establish a family. Then, you have to obtain the primordial idol. Once the primordial idol is consecrated, it will emit a mysterious wave of energy. It has an extremely mysterious effect on comprehending the origin divine power factor and origin secret arts. Only the primordial idol can attract many sky prides and experts to join you. Only then can you develop your strength quickly. Otherwise, even if you can establish a family, it will be difficult to expand your influence. Blue Merchant explained. It can help one comprehend the origin divine power factor and origin secret arts. Lu Ming was shocked and immediately thought of the Myriad God Cliff in Star Moon Ancient City. The Myriad God Cliff had many idols that could help one comprehend the origin divine power factor. Primordial idol? Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He thought of the idols that he had snatched from Blue Maple in the Ghosts region. Blue Maple's purpose in entering the Ghosts region was to obtain that idols. Later, Lu Ming led the former Dark Ape fighting tribe to chase Blue Maple away. Lu Ming also kept that idols. He never knew what the idols were used for. At this moment, Lu Ming's heart couldn't help but beat faster. Lan Shu, I have an idols here. Let me show you. Then, Lu Ming set up a formation in the courtyard. The primordial idol was too tall. If he took it out directly, it would be seen by people outside. This formation could conceal it. After setting up the formation, Lu Ming waved his hand and the idols that he had obtained from the Ghosts region fell in the courtyard. This is, after seeing the idols, Blue Merchant's eyes widened in surprise. He looked at them carefully. Then he was excited and ecstatic. He said in a trembling voice, Primordial idol. It's really the primordial idol. Lu Ming, how did you get the primordial idol? It's really the primordial idol. Lu Ming was also delighted. Then he told Blue Merchant how he had obtained the primordial idol. I see. It seems like Blue Maple's purpose in entering the Ghosts region is to obtain the primordial idol. Blue Merchant nodded. Lu Ming also understood why Blue Maple had mustered so many people to enter the Ghosts region. Blue Maple was very ambitious. He wanted to enter the top 10 in the Taishu dynasty's assembly and obtain the qualification to open a condominium. Therefore, he wanted to obtain the primordial idol. Unfortunately, Blue Maple did everything he could, but in the end, he didn't achieve any of the conditions. Lan Shu, is this really the primordial idol? Why does it feel so ordinary? Apart from the fact that it's very hard, there's no difference between it and other idols? Lu Ming asked the question that had been bothering him. He had studied this idol more than once, but he didn't find anything strange about it. If not for the fact that Lu Maple had worked so hard for this statue, Lu Ming would have thrown it away long ago. It's because it hasn't been consecrated yet. Blue Merchant said. Consecrated? Lu Ming was skeptical. It's true. According to legends, the primordial idol was created during the incipient god era. The ancestors used the bones of the primordial god spirit and other rare materials to create it. It's really magical. Until now, this method of creating it has been lost. That's why each primordial idol is priceless. However, if you want to make the primordial idol work magically, you need to consecrate it. Actually, it's very simple. You just need to find the items related to the primordial god spirit. For example, the flesh and blood of the primordial god spirit, the bones of the primordial god spirit, or the weapons that the primordial god spirit used to use. You can consecrate them to trigger the magical power of the primordial idol. Blue Merchant explained. Chapter 3240. Lu Ming finally knew how to consecrate the primordial deity statue. However, there was another problem. How could he get the flesh, bones, or weapons of the primordial deity statue? Ever since the Heavenly Palace era, the primordial deity statue had disappeared from the world. Some people said that the primordial deity statue had been extinct for a long time. Lu Ming told him about his worries. You don't have to worry about that. The Taishu dynasty controls a secret realm where these things exist. After a while, you should be able to explore it. Blue Merchant said. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. It was fine as long as there was a way. Actually, powerful forces like the 27 Heavenly King Palaces all have primordial deity statues. That's why they can attract many experts to join them. I think your primordial deity statue is of a high grade. After it's consecrated, it will definitely attract many experts to join you. It will play a crucial role in your development. Blue Merchant said. Lu Ming nodded. The two chatted for a while. Lu Ming continued to ask Blue Merchant questions about cultivation. At this moment, the Taishu dynasty was in a state of turmoil. In a magnificent palace in the Crown Prince's palace. Your Highness, there are many geniuses this time. Should we try to recruit them? An old man asked the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince sat on the throne. He seemed to be in his 30s. He was dignified and had a domineering aura. I'll leave it to you. The Crown Prince waved his hand. Also, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant are close. I feel that he's not simple. Should we get rid of him? The old man asked again. Although Lu Ming is talented, he's only in the first layer of the King God realm. It doesn't matter if we get rid of him or not. The Crown Prince said casually. Lu Ming was talented, but a first layer of the King God realm was no different from an ant in the Crown Prince's eyes. He didn't care. I think we should find a chance to get rid of him. At this moment, a woman's voice came from outside the palace. It was extremely seductive. Just her voice alone was enough to make a man burn. A gust of fragrant wind drifted over, and then, a graceful and beautiful woman walked in. If Lu Ming were here, he would definitely be shocked. The reason for that was because this woman was Dark Knight Rose. Lu Ming had left the Qin Tian Star Zone to investigate the theft of the 9 Extinction Divine Crystal. After entering the Chu Tian Star Zone, the first place he went to was the Devil Capital Mountain. The Dark Knight Rose was the daughter of the Dark Knight Demon King, the master of the Devil Capital Mountain. Back then, when the Devil Capital Mountain was destroyed, the Dark Knight Devil King died in battle. However, the Dark Knight Rose didn't die. Who would have thought that she would come to the Crown Prince's residence? Dark Knight Rose. The Crown Prince murmured as he looked at the Dark Knight Rose. His eyes were filled with passion. Crown Prince, Lu Ming must die. Dark Knight Rose said coldly. Her eyes were filled with killing intent and desire. All right, Rose, if you want to kill him, then we'll kill him. The Crown Prince waved his hand and laughed. As he spoke, he got up and walked toward Dark Knight Rose. He reached out his arm and hugged Dark Knight Rose's slender waist. The old man's figure flashed and disappeared from the main hall. Crown Prince, leave this matter to me. Dark Knight Rose said. All right, I'll listen to you. Come, let's get to work. The Crown Prince carried Dark Knight Rose and walked toward his room. In another huge hall in the Taishu dynasty's palace. This palace was the residence of the current second prince. At this moment, the second prince was discussing something with a few people. Second prince, I think that Lu Ming's background is not simple. We have to investigate it thoroughly. Someone suggested. All right, I'll send someone to get close to Lu Ming and investigate Lu Ming's background. We'll see if we can recruit him for our own use. If it's not possible, we can eliminate him if necessary. The second prince said with a smile. His eyes shone with wisdom. Great Void Saint Capital, Imperial Advisor's residence. Lu Ming, I swear that I'm not human if I don't kill you. Wu Fan let out a furious roar, causing some of the servants to tremble. At the same time, in the Lan family's residence, the War God clan's residence, And the abysmal heavenly king's residence, cold, murderous intent filled the air. Someone said that they wanted to take Lu Ming's head. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Today was the day that Lu Ming and the rest would join the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. The Great Void Saint Capital was vast and boundless. In the north of the Saint Capital, there was a huge residence. The gate of the residence was tall and majestic. On both sides of the gate, there were 18 stone pillars that were 1,000 feet tall. On each of the stone pillars, there was a divine dragon statue that was extremely majestic. This was the gate of the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. Early in the morning, a large number of people gathered in front of the gate. They were the geniuses who were going to join the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court this time. In the meeting held by the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court, as long as one passed the first 2 rounds, they would be able to join the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. There were more than 100,000 people who passed the first round. Lu Ming, Autumn Moon, and Lan Ling were also in the crowd, waiting quietly. Rumble. The gate opened, and a few middle-aged men walked out. We are the teachers of the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. We welcome you to the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. Now, line up and register your information in order. Then, follow us to the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. One of the tall and thin men said. Then, everyone lined up and registered their information one by one. After half a day, the registration was completed. Everyone followed the middle-aged men and entered the gate. As soon as they entered the gate, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. What came into view was a series of buildings. They were densely packed and incomparably majestic. The most eye-catching thing was the many palaces floating in midair, emitting divine light. Let me introduce to you. Under normal circumstances, killing is not allowed in the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court. If you want to kill, there is a fixed place. Also, in the Sacred Court, there is a group of prodigies who stayed to cultivate. However, some of the most powerful prodigies have already cultivated and entered the borders to train in the army. As for the previous group, almost all of them have left to train in various places. You also have to work hard to cultivate and improve. In the future, you will enter the army and other places to train, accumulate military merits, and soar to the sky. The tall and thin middle-aged man's saliva flew everywhere as he spoke with great passion. Many people were also excited by his words. Also, in the Great Void Imperial Sacred Court, there are many cultivation holy lands with heaven-defying effects. However, if you want to cultivate, you have to pay a corresponding price. Then, the tall and thin middle-aged man introduced the cultivation holy lands in the Sacred Court. After a full half an hour, he said, "Well, that's all for my introduction. The top 10 prodigies, follow me. The rest of you, follow the other teachers and arrange your accommodations." Then the other elders led the others and flew away. Lan Ling also left with them, leaving only the top 10 prodigies and the tall and thin middle-aged man. You are the top 10 prodigies and have obtained the qualification to open a mansion. Naturally, you have some privileges. Follow me. The tall and thin middle-aged man said. Chapter 32:41. Lu Ming and the others followed the middle-aged man. After a while, they arrived in front of a floating palace. This is where you will live in the future. There are many large formations in this palace, such as the Spirit Gathering Formation. It will be very beneficial for your cultivation. The middle-aged man introduced. Everyone's eyes lit up. The treatment of the top 10 was indeed different. That's not all. Many cultivation's sacred grounds are open to you unconditionally. You don't have to pay a price. You can cultivate as much as you want. The middle-aged man continued. This made Lu Ming even happier. They could cultivate as much as they wanted in many cultivation's sacred grounds in the Great Void Imperial Academy. That was awesome. The treatment of the top 10 was too good. All right, you can choose a palace to live in. Come to me if you have any questions. The middle-aged man said and then turned to leave. Lu Ming and the others began to choose their palaces. The palaces looked similar. They chose one at random. Lu Ming and Qiu Yu chose the 2 palaces that were close to each other. Lu Ming took out his identity token and swiped it at the door. The door opened automatically. It's indeed extraordinary, Lu Ming exclaimed as he walked into the palace. The palace was huge and magnificent. There were many rooms, courtyards, fake mountains, and everything else. Moreover, the divine qi was shockingly rich. Lu Ming took a deep breath and the divine qi rushed into his mouth. Moreover, he felt his mind calm down here. He could comprehend all kinds of divine skills and secret techniques faster here. The effect of cultivation here was much better than in the starry camp. Not to mention anything else. Just this point alone was enough to explain why so many people wanted to join the Great Void Imperial Academy. After walking around, Lu Ming came to Qiu Yu's palace and found that it was similar. Qiu Yu, let's go to those cultivation's sacred grounds, Lu Ming said. He couldn't wait to go to those cultivation holy lands to take a look. Sure. Qiu Yu smiled. The two of them left the palace together and flew in a random direction. The first thing he had to do was figure out the map of the Great Void Imperial Academy. Are you Lu Ming and Miss Autumn Moon? Just as the two of them flew out of the palace, a clear voice rang out. Lu Ming looked over and saw a young woman walking towards them. The young woman was very beautiful. She could be said to be a peerless beauty. Compared to Autumn Moon and Lan Ling, she was not much inferior. She was wearing a black swordsman's robe, which added to her heroic spirit. You are? Lu Ming revealed a curious look. I'm a student of the Great Void Imperial Academy. I'm from the previous batch. The woman smiled. So it's senior sister. Lu Ming cupped his hands. My name is Chui Wei. I've seen the two of you in the previous meeting. I admire you and want to make friends with you. The young woman said with a smile. She was extremely amiable, making one feel as if they were bathed in a spring breeze. Miss Chui Wei is too polite. Those who can enter the Great Void Imperial Academy are peerless geniuses. The two of us are just lucky, Lu Ming said modestly. Qiu Yu didn't say anything. With Lu Ming around, Qiu Yu usually didn't speak. She just listened quietly. Are the two of you going to the cultivation's sacred grounds to cultivate? Chui Wei turned her gaze and smiled. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. There was nothing to hide. The two of you are new here. I'm afraid you're not familiar with the terrain here. Moreover, there are many cultivation grounds in the Great Void Imperial Academy. I'm afraid it won't be easy to find them. I happen to be free, so I can introduce them to you, Chui Wei said. Then I'll have to trouble you, Miss Chui Wei. Lu Ming cupped his fists. The Great Void Imperial Academy had a vast territory. The terrain was indeed troublesome for them as they were new here. It would be much better if someone introduced them to them. What kind of cultivation do the two of you want to cultivate? Chui Wei asked. It should be related to the divine power of origin factor, Lu Ming said. He was most interested in this aspect. After all, he had 10 types of divine force to comprehend. This type of cultivation sacred ground would save him a lot of time. To comprehend the origin divine force factor, we naturally have to go to the divine statue garden. The two of you follow me. Chui Wei smiled and led the way. Lu Ming and Qiu Yu followed. The Great Void Imperial Academy was indeed vast. There were countless buildings. After walking around for a long time, they arrived in front of a huge building. If no one led them, they would have gotten dizzy. This is the divine statue garden. The effects of comprehending the origin divine force factor or origin secret technique are excellent. However, if you want to cultivate in the divine statue garden, you have to meet certain requirements. Chui Wei said. Requirements? Didn't the top 10 have no requirements and can cultivate to their heart's content? Lu Ming said. The top 10 have very good treatment and can cultivate to their heart's content in many cultivation's sacred grounds. However, the divine statue garden is not included, Chui Wei explained. It can't be, right? Lu Ming was speechless. He liked the divine statue garden the most, but he couldn't cultivate to his heart's content. Then what are the requirements to cultivate in the divine statue garden? Do you need divine crystals or contribution points? Lu Ming asked. Many places had similar requirements. None of them. Chui Wei shook her head and said, You need purgatory points. Purgatory points? Lu Ming and Qiu Yu were puzzled. What were purgatory points? In the Great Void Imperial Academy, you can't fight. However, there is a place called the Purgatory Arena. You can fight to your heart's content there. Many geniuses will go there to temper themselves. Most importantly, you can hide your identity in the Purgatory Arena and not be recognized by others. After fighting in the Purgatory Arena and winning, you can obtain Purgatory Points. Purgatory Points are used to cultivate in the Divine Statue Garden. Cui Wei explained. I see. What a strange rule. Lu Ming mumbled. Forget it, let's go somewhere else to cultivate. Lu Ming said. He would first familiarize himself with the place and increase his strength before going to the Purgatory Arena to fight and obtain Purgatory Points. Otherwise, even though Lu Ming had obtained third place, it would be dangerous for him to go to the Purgatory Arena. One had to know that the previous batch of students had cultivated here for many years. Who knew what cultivation they had reached? There are many cultivation sacred grounds in the Great Void Imperial Academy, but there are only a few famous ones. They are the Divine Statue Garden, the Yin-Yang Millstone, the Myriad Tribulation Pagoda, the Soul Refining Abyss, Cui Wei introduced. Among them, the Divine Statue Garden was a place to comprehend origin divine power and origin secret arts. The Yin-Yang Millstone could temper one's divine power and divine body. It could even increase one's cultivation. The Myriad Tribulation Pagoda was a place to train one's combat ability and secret arts. The Soul Refining Abyss was a place to temper one's soul. The Purgatory Arena was a place to fight to the death and obtain Purgatory Points. In addition, there were also places to train one's refining skills, alchemy, formation, and so on. There were all kinds of sacred grounds here. Cui Wei brought Lu Ming and Qiu Yu around the Great Void Imperial Academy to familiarize themselves with these cultivation sacred grounds. Chapter 3242. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon thanked Cui Wei. Without Cui Wei leading the way, they would have had plenty of time to explore the Great Void Sacred Institute. It's my honor to be able to befriend two peerless geniuses. If there's anything you need, feel free to send me a message. Cui Wei smiled. After exchanging their methods of communication, Cui Wei left. Young master, where do you want to go to cultivate? Autumn Moon asked. Let's go to the Yin-Yang Millstone first. Lu Ming said. The Yin-Yang Millstone could temper one's divine body and divine power. It could also raise one's cultivation base. If one's divine power and divine body were raised, one's combat strength would also increase. Of course, he would choose the Yin-Yang Millstone. I want to go too. Autumn Moon nodded. Immediately, the two of them headed towards the Yin-Yang Millstone. At the entrance of the Yin-Yang Millstone, Lu Ming and Autumn Moon were stopped. That was because one needed divine crystals to cultivate in the Yin-Yang Millstone. Moreover, the number of divine crystals required was shockingly high. However, when the two of them showed their identity medallions, they naturally did not need to pay any divine crystals. So the two of you are the top 10 geniuses of this competition. You don't need to pay any divine crystals to cultivate in the Yin-Yang Millstone. You can cultivate for as long as you want. These are 2 teleportation medallions. Take them. Cultivating in the Yin-Yang Millstone is still a little dangerous. When you feel that you can't take it anymore, activate the teleportation medallion. It will bring you out. An old man guarding the Yin-Yang Millstone handed Lu Ming and Autumn Moon a teleportation medallion each. The two of them put it away and thanked him. Then they walked through the gate. Following a mountain path, they soon arrived at the peak of a mountain. In the center of the mountain, there was an unfathomably deep cave. Lu Ming saw that on the flat ground around the cave, there were many young men and women sitting cross-legged, cultivating. He also saw someone jump down from the cave and into the cave. On the flat ground, there were flashes of light and figures suddenly appeared. They were all as tired as dead dogs. The moment they appeared, they hurriedly swallowed elixirs to recover. Obviously, the Yin-Yang Millstone was inside the cave. Some of them went in and some of them came out. These people have such profound cultivation bases. Lu Ming sensed a little and was secretly shocked. The auras of those young men and women were intimidating. Most of them were at the third sky of King God realm. Some of them were even stronger than that. Almost all of these people were from the previous batch of geniuses who had joined the Taishu Imperial Family Academy. They had been cultivating in the Taishu Imperial Family Academy for many years, and their cultivation levels were unfathomable. It was said that the strongest group of people had already gone out to train. Those who were still in the Taishu Imperial Sacred Academy could not be considered very strong. That is, then, Lu Ming and Autumn Moon were attracted by a huge stone tablet. Not far away, there was a huge stone tablet. It was tens of thousands of feet tall, and names appeared on it. Jianghu. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes widened because he saw a name at the top of the stone tablet. Jianghu. Jianghu's name was at the top. You must be new here. This stone tablet has the record of those who have cultivated in the Yin-Yang millstone for the longest time. In the Yin-Yang millstone, you have to bear a great pressure. No one can cultivate for a long time. Jianghu holds the record for the longest time. He cultivated for 999 days in a row. A young man explained. He was amazed at the end of his explanation. It's a record tablet. Lu Ming's heart jumped. He took a closer look and saw that there was a time record behind each name. Jianghu held the record. He cultivated for 999 days in a row in the Yin-Yang millstone. The second was 889 days, which was more than 100 days less than Jianghu. Lu Ming saw Blue Merchant's name at the 10th place. He had cultivated for 732 days. There were a total of 1,000 names on the stone tablet. Obviously, this was not the record of one batch of students, but the record of all the geniuses since the Taishu Imperial Sacred Academy was established. Lu Ming glanced at it and then walked towards the cave with Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon, go for it. Young master, you too. The two of them smiled at each other and then jumped into the Yin-Yang millstone. The moment he leaped into the Yin-Yang millstone, Lu Ming felt a powerful force pulling him, causing him to fall rapidly. However, after a while, the falling momentum stopped. Thereafter, Lu Ming felt a terrifying force pressing on his body. His body trembled and almost exploded. He hurriedly circulated his divine power to block it. Only then did he feel slightly better. That is, afterward, Lu Ming looked around and his pupils involuntarily constricted. The world was filled with two different colors of light. One was red, the other was white. The two colors were two types of energy. These two types of energy occupied one side and formed two huge millstones. They were rotating slowly, as if they were going to crush everything. Lu Ming was still at the edge of the millstone, but he was being pulled towards the center of the millstone by a force. The closer he was to the center of the millstone, the more terrifying the crushing force was. Lu Ming's divine power trembled. Is this the Yin-Yang millstone? It's terrifying. I have to block it, Lu Ming growled. All his divine power exploded. His ancient god heart was beating violently. His muscles bulged and he used all his strength to defend himself. At this moment, Lu Ming followed the force and entered the center of the two millstones. Suddenly, Lu Ming's body trembled violently. The divine power around him kept vibrating. A terrifying force rushed into his divine power defense and crushed his divine body. It was as if it was going to tear his divine body apart. Waves of pain spread throughout his body. Block it. Lu Ming gritted his teeth and resisted with his divine power and divine body. The millstone kept rotating. The two types of energy intertwined and crushed Lu Ming's body. Persevere, persevere. Lu Ming gritted his teeth and persevered. Unknowingly, he had been cultivating in the Yin-Yang millstone for 2 hours. Lu Ming felt that his divine body was about to collapse. There was a tearing pain. In this place, divine power couldn't defend against all the forces. No matter how strong one's divine power was, there would be a force that would rush into the divine power defense and attack the divine body. If the divine body wasn't strong, no matter how strong one's divine power was, they wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Nestle, this is too difficult. It's only been 2 hours, but I feel like 2 years have passed. How did Senior Jianghu persevere for 999 days? It's amazing! Lu Ming exclaimed. However, at the same time, he also realized the benefits. In the process of persevering and being crushed by the Yin-Yang millstone, There was a mysterious force that seeped into his divine body and divine power. It made his divine body and divine power stronger slowly. This speed of improvement was many times faster than when he was cultivating step by step outside. It's really effective. Let's continue. Lu Ming continued to grit his teeth and persevere. 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours. Soon, Lu Ming had persevered in the yin-yang millstone for 2 days. Chapter 3243. After 2 days in the yin-yang millstone, Lu Ming had reached his limit. Cracks began to appear on his body. He looked like a cracked porcelain that would shatter at any moment. Pain and fatigue were intertwined. Lu Ming wanted to have a good sleep. If this continued, he would really be crushed to death by the yin-yang millstone. It's about time. Let's go out first. Lu Ming gritted his teeth and took out the teleportation talisman. He injected his divine power into it and a force enveloped Lu Ming. In the next moment, Lu Ming disappeared from the yin-yang millstone and appeared outside the entrance. As soon as he came out, Lu Ming gasped for breath. He then took out a few divine pills and stuffed them into his mouth. He then sat down cross-legged and started cultivating the universe myriad Dao technique. There were experts from the Great Void Imperial family guarding this place. No one dared to cause trouble here, so he could recover to his heart's content. After 3 days, Lu Ming had completely recovered to his peak state. He was in great condition. My cultivation and divine body have improved a little. Lu Ming was overjoyed. After 2 days of grinding, his cultivation base and divine body had improved a little. It was very difficult to improve one's cultivation after reaching the Divine King realm. Every step required a lot of energy and resources. He had only cultivated for 2 days. It was very rare for him to make such progress. Continue. Lu Ming rushed into the yin-yang millstone again and started the hellish cultivation. The second time, Lu Ming persisted for a little longer. He lasted for 3 days. It's only been 3 days. Senior Jianghu has lasted 999 years. The difference is too big. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. What he didn't know was that there were very few people who could last more than a day in the yin-yang millstone. Many people could only last for a few hours on their first or second time. There were even some who could last for a few minutes before being defeated. After 3 days, Lu Ming came out and continued to recover. He felt that his cultivation and divine body had improved a little. Then he continued to enter. Just like that, Lu Ming cultivated in the yin-yang millstone wholeheartedly. Every time he reached his limit, he would come out and recover when he was tired. Day after day, year after year. Slowly, Lu Ming could last longer in the yin-yang millstone. From the first 2 days, 3 days, 10 days, 20 days, cultivation knew no time. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had cultivated in the yin-yang millstone for 100 years. At this time, he could last 3 years in the yin-yang millstone. His harvest was also huge. Not to mention other things, his god body had become 1 level stronger. His muscles, bones, and internal organs had become more tenacious and powerful. His ancient god heart was beating with vigorous vitality. The stronger the divine body, the more stamina he had. When he used the ancient god body, he could last longer. At the same time, when he activated the battle formula to increase his fighting power by 5 times, he could last longer. Lu Ming's cultivation level had also improved significantly. He had reached the 2nd heaven of the King God realm. He only cultivated for 100 years and reached the 2nd layer of the King God realm. Lu Ming revealed a smile. He was very satisfied. 100 years passed in the blink of an eye for a King God realm warrior. It was too short. Ordinary King God realm warriors needed 10,000 years to break through 1 level. It could take hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years, or even tens of millions of years. However, Lu Ming could break through 1 level in 100 years. Moreover, he cultivated 10 different kinds of divine power at the same time. This speed was already terrifying. Of course, it was related to his innate talent. He also needed the measure character formula to refine the energy of the stellar nucleus and the yin-yang millstone. That was why he could break through so fast. After breaking through to the 2nd King God realm, Lu Ming's fighting competence had increased by 1 level. Unfortunately, the origin of the divine power didn't increase. To break through to the third king god realm from the second king god realm, even with the help of the yin-yang millstone, I'm afraid it will take me at least 300 years. I'm not in a hurry. I should go to other places to cultivate, Lu Ming pondered. He waited here until Autumn Moon came out of the yin-yang millstone. Then he and Autumn Moon left this place and went to the next holy place to cultivate. The next holy place was the soul refining abyss. The soul refining abyss could train the soul. Moreover, they used to cultivate in the soul refining abyss for free because they were 10. In the following period of time, the two of them cultivated in the soul refining abyss to refine and cleanse their souls, making their souls stronger. The stronger the soul, the stronger the spiritual consciousness. If they met someone from the Nine Serenities Heavenly King Mansion who could affect the soul, their soul defense would be stronger. After cultivating in the soul refining abyss for a while, Lu Ming and Autumn Moon went to another holy place to cultivate, the Thousand Tribulation Tower. In the Thousand Tribulation Tower, they could cultivate divine skills and secret techniques. Just like that, Lu Ming and Autumn Moon went back and forth between the holy places to cultivate. Other people had to pay a price to cultivate in these holy places. However, Lu Ming and Autumn Moon did not need to pay at all. They used these resources to improve themselves, enrich themselves, and make themselves stronger. They were improving rapidly in all aspects. Soon, they entered the Great Void Imperial family's holy court. 300 years had passed. My origin divine power factor did not improve much. Only the primordial dragon energy has awakened it. Lu Ming pondered. Among the 10 types of divine powers that Lu Ming cultivated, only the Dominator's divine power had awakened the divine power of origin factor twice. The other 7 types of divine powers had awakened the divine power of origin factor once. There were also 2 types of divine powers that had not awakened the divine power of origin factor. After all these years of cultivation, the primordial dragon energy had finally awakened the origin divine power factor. Now, only the divine eye heavenly energy had not awakened the origin divine power factor. However, Lu Ming felt that it was too slow. He was eager to go to the Garden of Gods to cultivate. With my current battle strength, I should be able to get some points if I go to the Purgatory Arena. Lu Ming thought. After Autumn Moon finished her cultivation, he would tell Autumn Moon. Autumn Moon agreed readily. She also wanted to get some points and go to the Garden of Gods to cultivate. The Garden of Gods had such strict requirements. The effect would definitely be extraordinary. Lu Ming was full of expectations. Immediately, the two of them moved and went to the Purgatory Arena. Brother Lu Ming, Miss Autumn Moon. Lu Ming and the others were on the way to the Purgatory Arena when they heard someone calling them. It was Cui Wei. Miss Cui Wei, what a coincidence. Lu Ming greeted with a smile. It is indeed a coincidence. Are you going to the Purgatory Arena? Cui Wei smiled. Yes, let's go to the Purgatory Arena and see if we can earn some Purgatory points to cultivate in the Garden of Gods. Lu Ming said. What a coincidence. I'm going to the Purgatory Arena too. Why don't we go together? Cui Wei said. That's great. Lu Ming nodded. Immediately, the 3 of them went to the Purgatory Arena. Soon, a few huge buildings appeared in front of them. These buildings all looked like arenas. There were a total of 3 of them, and they were all connected together. Chapter 3244. The Purgatory Arena is divided into 3 areas according to cultivation base. First to 3rd layer of King God Realm are divided into one area, 4th to 6th layer of King God Realm are divided into another area, and 7th to 9th layer of King God Realm are divided into another area. People with the same cultivation base can only fight in a certain area. For example, from the 1st to the 3rd King God layer, they can only fight in the 1st area. Of course, they can also go to the 2nd and 3rd areas. That's just courting death. And those with higher cultivation bases can't enter the lower areas to fight. Cui Wei explained. So, there are different areas. Lu Ming was moved. It was a pity. If he had known that there were different areas, he would have come to the Purgatory Arena to fight. He wasn't afraid of anyone from 1st to 3rd layer of King God Realm, unless he encountered a monster like Di Jiani. Brother Lu Ming, which area are you going to? Cui Wei asked. The first area, of course. Lu Ming said. The first area was for 1st to 3rd layer of King God Realm, the second area was for 4th to 6th layer of King God Realm, and the third area was for 7th to 9th layer of King God Realm. You can get a mask when you enter the Purgatory Arena. Wearing this mask can hide your identity. Therefore, when you fight in the Purgatory Arena, people won't know who you are. Cui Wei said. The three of them entered the first area and were stopped by the guards. They filled in their information and received a Shura mask each. After putting on the Azura mask, a mysterious energy spread out from the mask, turning into a black fog that shrouded their bodies. Lu Ming looked at Qiu Yu and Cui Wei. He could barely see their figures and knew that they were women. However, the color of their clothes and their appearance were all covered. Even his spiritual consciousness couldn't see through them. Not bad. Lu Ming smiled. It was best if they could hide their identities to gain points. Lu Ming had many enemies. If they couldn't hide their identities, he was afraid of being targeted. Moreover, there was a number on each of their Shura masks. Lu Ming was 11111, Autumn Moon was 11112, and Cui Wei was 11113. Putting on their masks, the three of them walked in. The Purgatory Arena was actually an arena. There was a huge fighting ring in the middle. Around the fighting ring, there were rows of seats and many spectators. However, those who entered this place were all wearing Azura masks. It was impossible to recognize their true appearances. At this moment, the crowd was cheering. Two figures were fighting fiercely in the fighting ring. The faces of the two people fighting could not be seen clearly, but it could be seen that they were both men. One was tall and sturdy, while the other was tall and thin. The two of them were engaged in an intense battle. Their cultivation bases were at the 3rd King God Realm, and they had awakened the God power of the origin. In fact, being able to enter the Great Void Imperial Academy was a testament to one's talent. After cultivating in the Great Void Imperial Academy for so many years, most people would be able to awaken their divine origin power. The two of them fought for more than 100 moves. In the end, the tall and thin man was defeated. He found a chance to rush down the fighting ring. In the end, he was pushed down from the fighting ring. Number 3689 wins. This is 3 consecutive wins. You get 3 purgatory points. A deep voice reverberated in the arena. The points here are calculated according to the number of wins. You get 1 point for each win. If you get 2 consecutive wins, you get 2 points at once. Plus the previous points, you get 3 points. If you get 3 consecutive wins, you get 3 points at once. Plus the previous points, you get 6 points. So on and so forth. Cui Wei sent a message to Lu Ming and Autumn Moon to explain. Lu Ming understood. In this place, the more consecutive wins, the more points one would get. However, the battles here are not limited to one person. If someone gets too many consecutive wins, the manager of the Purgatory Arena will arrange for many people to join hands to fight against one person. For example, if someone gets 50 consecutive wins and continues to fight, he may face many people joining hands to fight against him. It is said that the record in the Purgatory Arena is held by Jianghu. His highest record is to challenge 99 experts at the same time. Cui Wei continued to explain. Jianghu again. Lu Ming's heart stirred. He found that many records in the Great Void Imperial Academy were held by Jianghu. It could be seen how amazing Jianghu was in the past. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was the first in the history of the Taishu dynasty. Fighting 99 people at the same time. Really amazing. Lu Ming sighed. One should know that everyone here was a genius. It was extremely terrifying to be able to fight 99 people at the same time. Of course, it also depends on luck. If you encounter a genius of the same level as you naturally can't challenge so many people at the same time. Cui Wei smiled. Then, Cui Wei introduced the rules of the Purgatory Arena. There were no taboos in fighting in the Purgatory Arena. One was responsible for his own life and death. No one would care if he died in the arena. At the same time, Admitting defeat with one's mouth was not considered as admitting defeat. If you couldn't win and wanted to admit defeat, you had to rush down the arena to admit defeat. Only then would your opponent stop chasing you. Number 3689, do you want to continue? The deep voice sounded. Yes. Number 3689 replied. Let me fight you. As soon as number 3689 finished his words, a figure rushed up to the arena from the stands. Everyone saw that the number on his mask was 5,555. Kill! Without saying anything more, the two of them started to fight fiercely. Both of them were in the third king god realm. The battle was extremely fierce. After more than 100 moves, number 5555 won, ending his opponent's 3 consecutive victories. However, although number 5555 had defeated his opponent, he was injured and did not continue to fight. Young master, let me try. Qiu Yu sent a message to Lu Ming. He was eager to try. Go, be careful. Lu Ming reminded him. Don't worry. Qiu Yu smiled and flew up, landing on the arena. Then her aura diffused. She had the cultivation base of the third king god realm. There was a gap between the third king god realm and the fourth king god realm. It was not easy to break through. After years of cultivation, Qiu Yu had reached the peak of the third king god realm. She was only one step away from the fourth king god realm. Qiu Yu had been in the fourth king god realm for 100 years. However, Lu Ming estimated that Qiu Yu would break through soon. Look at her body. She's a girl. I like to bully girls. Leave it to me. A rough voice sounded, and then a figure landed on the fighting ring. Girl, I don't want to kill you. Get out of the arena. The man shouted and threw a punch at Qiu Yu. He was also in the third king god realm. Swish. Qiu Yu slashed his saber and broke the man's defense. That person let out a blood-curdling scream as his body flew backwards and landed heavily on the battle stage. He spat out a mouthful of blood and a saber mark appeared on his chest. His entire body had almost been split in half. Chapter 3245. Qiu Autumn Moon defeated her opponent in one move. Of course, Autumn Moon had shown mercy. Otherwise, she could have killed her opponent in one move. Get out of here. Qiu Autumn Moon said. She changed her voice to make it sound cold. That person hurriedly ran out of the fighting ring. Number 11112 wins. You get 1 purgatory point. Do you want to continue? A deep voice sounded. Yes. Qiu Autumn Moon said. In the next moment, another person rushed to the fighting ring and fought with Autumn Moon. However, he was easily defeated by Autumn Moon. To be honest, not many people could be a match for Autumn Moon at the same level. Qiu Autumn Moon had lost to Wuxia because Wuxia had reached the fourth king god realm. If they were at the same level, Autumn Moon could probably defeat Wuxia. But now, Qiu Autumn Moon had reached the peak of the third king god realm. After 300 years of cultivation, she had improved in all aspects. She was even stronger now. Even though they were at the same third king god realm, she could easily defeat her opponents. Not long after, Qiu Autumn Moon had won 50 consecutive battles. With 50 consecutive victories, Qiu Autumn Moon had earned 1,275 points. 1 point was enough to cultivate in the Garden of Gods for a day. With 1,275 points, she could cultivate for a few years. These points are pretty easy to earn. Lu Ming muttered to himself. If other people heard this, they would probably vomit blood. Others had to fight for their lives to earn 1 point. It also depended on their luck. If they were careless and met a ruthless person, they could lose their lives here. How was it easy to earn? The spectators were dumbfounded. What a terrifying genius. She won 50 consecutive battles. It's been a long time since such a terrifying genius appeared in the first area. That's right. Since the top geniuses reached the fourth king god realm, no one has been able to win 50 consecutive battles. Many people were discussing. It wasn't that no one had won 50 consecutive battles. Some of the top geniuses from the previous batch of students had done that. However, after they had broken through to the fourth sky of the king god realm, no one could do that anymore. Could he be one of the top prodigies among this batch of new students? That's right, that's for sure. I heard that there are quite a few terrifying geniuses among this batch of new students. They're ridiculously strong and have surpassed many of the previous batches. Some people even say that this year's batch is the strongest in history. This person must be a top-notch genius among the new students. There were sounds of discussion all around. Number 11112, do you want to continue? The deep voice sounded again. Fight. Autumn Moon wanted to continue her challenge. All right, but I need to make some arrangements. Not long after, a total of 3 figures rushed onto the fighting ring. As expected, the Purgatory Arena began to arrange for more people to challenge the Mid-Autumn Moon. Apparently, under the 4th sky of King God Realm, no one could be Chiu Yu's equal match. They had to arrange a group battle. However, even if the 3 of them joined hands, they were still no match for the Mid-Autumn Moon. The Mid-Autumn Moon's winning streak was still ongoing. The number of people the Purgatory Arena sent out was increasing. At first, there were 3, then 4, and then more than 20. Many people gasped in astonishment. Those 20 people were not ordinary people. They were all the top geniuses. Each of them was very strong. Even though they had joined hands, they were still no match for the Mid-Autumn Moon. After that, the Mid-Autumn Moon had won 100 consecutive battles before he stopped. He had consumed a lot of his god power. After winning 100 consecutive battles, the Mid-Autumn Moon had gained 5,050 points. This made countless people's eyes burn with passion and envy. 50 points were enough for him to cultivate in the statue garden for more than 10 years. After the Mid-Autumn Moon had finished his challenge, he went back to the stands. Hey, pretty girl, can you sell me some points? I'm willing to pay you a lot. Move aside, pretty girl. Sell me some points. I'm willing to pay you anything, including my body. Get lost. Shameless. Instantly, many people surrounded the Mid-Autumn Moon, wanting to buy his points. It was noisy. The purgatory points could be bought and sold. I'm not selling. The Mid-Autumn Moon's face was cold, and his body emitted cold, killing intent. Those people could only shut their mouths. I'll give it a try. Lu Ming smiled. With a flash of his body, he dashed into the fighting ring. After dashing into the fighting ring, Lu Ming released his cultivation level. The aura of a second-layer King God Realm Cultivator was fully revealed. Second-layer King God Realm Cultivator. Great, he's mine. Immediately, someone's eyes lit up and he dashed into the fighting ring. Judging by his figure, he was also a burly young man. He was about 3 meters tall, so he should not be a human. His aura was also that of a second-layer King God Realm Cultivator. Boom! He took a step forward, causing the ground to rumble. Then he dashed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming took out a long spear and thrust it out, exchanging blows with the man. There was a loud explosion and both of them retreated a few steps at the same time. What a powerful strength! Lu Ming exclaimed. He seemed to be very serious. Of course, Lu Ming was faking it. If he was serious, he could easily kill his opponent. However, if he showed his strength at the beginning, what if the people behind him did not dare to accept his challenge? Therefore, he decided to keep a low profile at the beginning and show his weak cultivation. That way, he could attract more people to challenge him. When he won more battles in a row, he would gain a lot of points. Therefore, Lu Ming pretended to go all out and fought fiercely with the burly young man. After exchanging dozens of blows, Lu Ming finally blasted the other party out of the arena with one shot. He looked as if he had barely won. Number 11111 wins. You get 1 point. Do you want to continue? A deep voice sounded. Yes. Lu Ming pretended to take a few deep breaths and said, "This guy's strength is average. I'll fight him." Immediately, a man rushed to the fighting ring. He was also in the second King God realm. His fighting capacity was stronger than the previous one. Then, Lu Ming pretended to fight with him for dozens of moves and knocked him off the fighting ring. After the fight, he looked like he was about to die. As expected, someone else continued to challenge him. Just like that, Lu Ming won 15 battles in a row. After each battle, he looked like he was about to die. However, every time someone went up to him, he would knock them off the fighting ring. Finally, the others felt that something was wrong. F***ck. Is he pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? He looks like he's about to die every time. However, the stronger people are defeated by him. This guy is definitely pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. How insidious! The crowd cursed. However, some people didn't believe it. I don't believe that his fighting capacity is weak. I'll go and fight him. Another man rushed to the fighting ring and fought with Lu Ming. However, he was still defeated. Even if someone in the third king god realm went up, the result would be the same. However, there were still people who went up to challenge Lu Ming. Most importantly, Lu Ming was gentle. All the challengers were knocked off the fighting ring at most. He didn't kill anyone. If Lu Ming was cruel and merciless, there wouldn't be so many challengers. Chapter 3246. Soon, Lu Ming's winning streak reached 50 consecutive victories. Is there anyone else who wants to challenge me? Let me tell you, I can't take it anymore. Lu Ming shouted. Bah, shameless bastard. Someone reprimanded. They were 100% sure that Lu Ming was pretending to be weak to take advantage of others. He was astonishingly powerful and deliberately lured others to challenge him. Lu Ming rubbed his nose speechlessly. It seemed like he had to wait for the purgatory arena to arrange for more people to challenge him. I'll fight you. At this moment, a voice was heard. Then, a figure dashed onto the fighting stage. Judging from his figure, he should be a skinny young man. Lu Ming frowned. He didn't know why, but he felt a sense of danger from this young man. Lu Ming's spiritual senses were sharp. Under normal circumstances, his senses wouldn't be wrong. Swoosh. At this moment, the young man's figure flashed and charged at Su Mo. His speed was shocking. Like a ray of light, a terrifying saber light burst out and slashed at Lu Ming's head. This was a killing move. He wanted to kill Lu Ming. What a strong killing intent. He wants to kill me. Lu Ming's heart jumped. He waved his spear and blocked the young man's attack. With a clang, the young man's figure flashed and appeared behind Lu Ming. He slashed again. Lu Ming swept his spear, but the young man's figure flashed again and appeared in another direction. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Saber light flashed. Hundreds of saber lights surrounded Lu Ming. Get lost. Lu Ming's divine force burst out. A huge spear light swept out. Previously, Lu Ming hadn't used his full strength. Now that he had activated the battle character art, his divine force surged and he wanted to send the young man flying. However, at this moment, something strange happened. The other party's saber gleam suddenly surged. A shocking saber gleam was extremely terrifying. It broke Lu Ming's spear gleam in an instant and charged toward Lu Ming's head. Sixth King God Layer. Lu Ming roared furiously. He was furious. That man's cultivation base had reached the sixth King God realm. He had been hiding all this time, and now he had suddenly erupted. He clearly wanted to put Lu Ming to death. If it was an ordinary person, they would definitely not be able to withstand it and would be killed. However, Lu Ming had been keenly aware of the danger from the beginning, so he had always been on guard. Boom! Lu Ming exerted all his power and instantly transformed into a green-armored ancient god. At the same time, the gate of domination appeared in front of him. At the critical juncture of life and death, Lu Ming couldn't care less about hiding his identity and used his full strength. Clang! The blade light slashed against the sovereign's door, and the sovereign's door shook violently. Cracks appeared on its surface, and then it exploded. Poochie! The remaining blade light slashed onto Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body shook violently as he retreated rapidly. Lu Ming was in his green-armored ancient god form, but the green scales on his body had been cut open, and there were streaks of blood. Lu Ming retreated hastily, trying to get out of the fighting stage. Die! His opponent shouted. The blade light expanded and turned into a shocking blade light that charged towards Lu Ming. His opponent's combat strength was extremely strong. Not only had his cultivation base reached the sixth King God realm, but his origin divine power factor had also awakened twice. Even though Lu Ming had broken through to the second King God realm, he was still no match for him. Overlord God Spear. Lu Ming roared and used the Overlord God Spear. He thrust it out and stabbed at his opponent's blade light. At the same time, The ice chains flew out and formed a shield in front of him. However, his opponent's blade light was terrifying. It broke through the ice chains and collided with the Overlord God's spear. The Overlord God's spear shook violently, and cracks appeared on its surface. Gotcha! The Overlord God's spear began to crack inch by inch. However, he managed to block his opponent's attack. Fortunately, Lu Ming had broken through to the second King God realm. If he was still in the first King God realm, he would have been killed by his opponent's blade light. At this moment, Lu Ming made use of this pressure to retreat rapidly and dashed out of the fighting ring's perimeter. However, his opponent did not plan to stop. He charged towards Lu Ming again, and his blade light flashed. It was terrifying. He did not want to compete with Lu Ming. He wanted to kill Lu Ming. All of this happened too quickly, too quickly. The surrounding people were all stunned. Young master. Qiu Yu was even more shocked. He rushed towards Lu Ming, trying to help Lu Ming. However, it was too late. His opponent's third blade light slashed towards Lu Ming. Block it! Block it! You must block it! Lu Ming shouted. As long as he could block this attack, he would be saved. The Purgatory Arena had its rules. Although people with a high cultivation base could watch, only those below the fourth King God realm were allowed to fight. This person had obviously violated the rules. The experts of the Purgatory Arena would definitely take action. As long as he could block his opponent's attack, he would be saved. At this moment, Lu Ming's spirit, energy, and energy were all concentrated. Battle character art, increase fighting strength by 5 times, ice chain, divine dragon Dharma idol. Lu Ming shouted in his mind. At this moment, he had triggered the battle character art to increase fighting strength by 5 times. After hundreds of years of cultivation, the battle character art had increased the chances of triggering the battle character art. It was now 1 in 10. At this moment, as he was fully concentrated, he succeeded in triggering the battle character art. At the same time, 49 nine-clawed dragons appeared in the void. This was the result of Lu Ming's recent cultivation. His divine dragon Dharma idol art had also made great progress. He could now create 49 nine-clawed dragons at once. 9 ice chains also flew out. As for the overbearing God's Spear and the God's Gate, although he could regenerate them, Lu Ming had just been defeated. It was impossible for him to regenerate them at once. In the measure character art, an endless stream of God power rushed into Lu Ming's body, turning into various attacks. Die! The opponent roared. The saber light slashed down, creating a violent explosion in the air. The ice chains and the 9-clawed dragons exploded one after another. In the end, the saber light landed on Lu Ming's body. Fresh blood splattered and green scales flew everywhere. Lu Ming's body was almost cut into 2. Deep wounds appeared on his body. Lu Ming vomited blood. He was severely injured. Die! The opponent roared. He was anxious. He didn't expect that with his fighting strength, he wouldn't be able to kill Lu Ming with 3 consecutive attacks. He circulated his god power and slashed again. How dare you! A furious roar was heard. The powerhouse guarding this place finally made his move. A huge claw appeared in front of Lu Ming and shattered the saber gleam. Then, the palm pressed down on that person's body. That person spat out a mouthful of blood. He was seriously injured and could not move. Phew! Lu Ming let out a long breath. He was finally saved. He couldn't maintain his ancient god body anymore. He transformed into his human form and fell to the ground. Young master! At this moment, Qiu Yu rushed over and held on to Lu Ming. Tears welled up in her eyes and she was about to cry. Chapter 3247. I'm okay. Lu Ming smiled at the autumn moon. Then he took out a healing pellet and swallowed it. He refined the pellet and stabilized his wounds. Luckily, Lu Ming's god body was strong. His vitality was abundant, so he could recover quickly. Lu Ming. That's Lu Ming. It's Lu Ming, the one who came in third among the new students, Lu Ming. At this moment, the scene was noisy. Many people recognized Lu Ming. After all, many senior students had come to watch the competition held by the Taishu dynasty. Later on, Lu Ming had used the God's Door and the overbearing God's Spear. Finally, Some people recognized him. At this moment, a middle-aged man appeared in front of Lu Ming. His aura was intimidating. His cold eyes gazed at the man who had tried to kill Lu Ming. He waved his hand and the man's mask flew away, revealing his face. It was a skinny young man with a pale face. "It's Fu Jian." Seeing his face, some people screamed in fear. "Why did you sneak into the first area?" The middle-aged man shouted coldly. "Elder, you misunderstood me. I saw that his cultivation base was profound and he was strong. I was itching to fight with him." Fu Jian revealed an ugly smile as he quibbled. "Nonsense." At this moment, Lu Ming tried to stabilize his wounds. He stepped forward with a cold face. "Did you want to fight with me? You want to kill me? I'm sure you know who I am." "Speak. Who sent you here? And how did you know who I am?" Apparently, the other had come here to kill him. He had used his killing moves to kill him. Everybody knew that the Purgatory Arena had a rule that warriors above the third King God realm couldn't join the fights in the first area. Otherwise, they would be severely punished. If the other didn't have a purpose, why would he take the risk? It was impossible. Apparently, the other had known his identity first. That was why he had taken action. His purpose was to kill him. But how did he know that he was Lu Ming? "Looks like my identity has been exposed." A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He continued to stare at Fu Jian and coldly shouted, "Who sent you here?" "As I said, I was just itching to spar with you." Fu Jian still refused to admit it. "Elder, this person is obviously spouting nonsense. I suggest that we search his soul to see who sent him here," Lu Ming suggested to the middle-aged man. These words caused Fu Jian's expression to turn extremely ugly. "All right." The middle-aged man nodded. His eyes were cold as he said, "Such behavior is really bad. We must punish him severely. Otherwise, the rules of the Purgatory Arena will be abolished. I will search his soul." After saying that, the middle-aged man waved his hand, and a wave of energy enveloped Fu Jian. He was about to search his soul. "No, don't," Fu Jian roared, his face filled with terror. In the next moment, his head exploded like a watermelon. Fu Jian died on the spot. "Restriction, damn it!" The middle-aged man shouted angrily. A restriction had already been placed in Fu Jian's soul. Once his soul was searched, his head would explode. "Who is it?" Lu Ming frowned. "Who wanted to kill him?" He thought of the people from the Imperial Advisor's residence, the Lan family, or the Abysmal Heavenly King's residence. It must be his enemy. Damn it, those who come to the arena must be strictly checked in the future. Also, those who violate the rules will be killed without mercy. The middle-aged man roared as his cold eyes swept around. Many people shuddered at the thought of this. Then, the middle-aged man looked at Lu Ming and said, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine. Thank you, Elder." Lu Ming said, "That's good. Go get your points and go back to heal your injuries," the middle-aged man said. Lu Ming nodded and returned with Qiuyu. "Brother Lu Ming, are you all right?" At this time, Cui Wei flew over and asked with concern. "I'm fine." Lu Ming nodded and did not say anything. A cold light flashed in the depths of his eyes. This time, only he, Qiuyu, and Cui Wei knew his identity. When Lu Ming went on stage, he did not use any of his classic secret techniques. Therefore, it was impossible for others to guess his identity from his actions. Then, there was only one possibility. Someone among them had exposed his identity. Qiuyu could not have done it, so it could only be Cui Wei. No wonder Cui Wei took the initiative to befriend them when they just entered the Great Void Imperial Academy and enthusiastically introduced everything about it to them. This time, they came to the Purgatory Arena and happened to meet Cui Wei. Was it really a coincidence? I won't point it out. Let's see how you play." Lu Ming snorted in his heart and did not point it out. Qiuyu's eyes flickered a few times, but he did not say anything. When they came to the gate, the guard gave Lu Ming and Qiuyu a jade talisman, each containing their purgatory points. With this jade talisman, they could go to the Divine Statue Garden to cultivate. "Miss Cui Wei, we're going to the Divine Statue Garden to cultivate. Do you want to come too?" Lu Ming asked hypocritically. No. I don't have many points left. I'll train in the purgatory arena for a while and accumulate some points before going. Cui Wei said. Then I'll take my leave. Lu Ming said and left with Qiu Yu for the divine statue garden. Seeing Lu Ming and Qiu Yu leave, Cui Wei's eyes flickered a few times before she disappeared. Young master, you must have been betrayed this time. I suspect it's Cui Wei. Why didn't you point it out? Qiu Yu asked Lu Ming. She was smart and also thought of this point. There's no evidence. What's the use of pointing it out? I'd like to see who sent her. Lu Ming sneered. Then, the two of them returned to the hovering palace where they lived. After returning to the floating palace, Lu Ming calmed down and healed his injuries. Soon more than 10 days had passed. Lu Ming's injuries had healed and he had recovered to his peak state. Then he went to the divine statue garden with Qiu Yu. Young master, I'll give you some points. Qiu Yu said. No need. You can keep them. When I run out of points, I'll go and earn more. Lu Ming smiled. The two came to the entrance of the divine statue garden and handed over their jade talismans to the expert guarding here. 1 point for 1 day of cultivation. Go in. After checking it, the expert returned the jade talismans to them. The two entered the divine statue garden. Not long after, they came to a spacious area. There was nothing else in this area other than the gigantic statues of gods. Primordial statues, so many of them. Lu Ming looked around. There were many primordial statues here. Some were tall and some were short. They were very similar to the one he had obtained. However, the primordial statues here emitted a strange fluctuation. It was similar to what he felt at the Myriad Deity Cliff in Xingyue Ancient City. Below these statues, some young people could be seen sitting cross-legged, quietly cultivating. Chapter 3248. In the God Statue Garden, there were many god statues, and each of them was emitting a mysterious wave of energy. My primordial god statue is considered tall here. It's just that it hasn't been consecrated. What a pity! Lu Ming muttered to himself. Then he and Autumn Moon came to a tall god statue and sat down cross-legged. Although there were many god statues in the god statue garden, there was no rule about which god statue they had to cultivate. No matter what kind of divine power they cultivated, they could choose any god statue and cultivate. When their minds entered the ethereal state, Lu Ming realized that he had appeared in a starry sky. Lu Ming heard a terrifying roar. He saw many huge primordial divine spirits fighting in the starry sky. Primordial divine powers were surging. This scene was exactly the same as what he had experienced on the Myriad Deity Cliff in the Star Crescent Ancient City. Countless ancient gods were fighting. If they wanted to cultivate any divine power, they would have to find the corresponding divine power. Let's find the divine eye heavenly power first. Lu Ming thought to himself. Now, he only had the divine eye heavenly power that he cultivated from the divine eye heavenly skill that had not awakened the divine power origin factor. Therefore, he planned to awaken the divine eye heavenly power origin factor first. Soon, he found the corresponding divine power. A huge primordial divine spirit, like a huge python, had eyes all over his body. When the eyes opened and closed, they emitted terrifying divine lights. He was fighting with another primordial divine spirit. Swoosh! One of the divine lights pierced towards Lu Ming and turned into ancient runes, trying to kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming shouted and used all his strength to fight back. These ancient runes were formed by the primordial divine powers that corresponded to the divine eye heavenly power. In the process of fighting, Lu Ming's understanding of the divine eye heavenly power deepened rapidly. When he was at the Myriad Deity Cliff in the Star Crescent Ancient City, there were rows of stone platforms. The 3 platforms at the top had the best effect. Lu Ming discovered that the effects of cultivating here were equivalent to the effects of the 3 stone platforms at the top of the Myriad God Cliff. However, Lu Ming's current cultivation was much stronger than before. The higher one's cultivation base was, the stronger one's control over divine power would be, and the clearer one's understanding would be. Naturally, one would be able to comprehend the divine power origin factor faster. Therefore, the speed at which Lu Ming comprehended the heavenly eyes was shockingly fast. It was much faster than when he was at the Myriad God Cliff. Of course, there was still a huge difference in speed compared to the Bone Sword tribe's sagely heaven jade annulus. However, Lu Ming had only spent a month to break through the bottleneck of his divine eye heavenly energy, successfully awakening the ultimate God essence factor. After his divine eye's heavenly energy had awakened his origin God energy factor, Lu Ming started to comprehend the Overlord's God energy. However, the process of going from one awakening to 2 awakenings was much slower, and the difficulty of comprehending it was 100 times greater. The difficulty of going from 2 awakenings to 3 awakenings was even more shocking. For example, Di Jenny, Su Weia, Yijifan, Chu Chenkong, and the rest of the top geniuses had only awakened their origin God energy factor twice. None of them had awakened their origin God energy factor thrice. This showed how difficult it was. In fact, almost no one below the 3rd layer of the King God realm could awaken their origin God energy factor thrice. Lu Ming's sovereign God energy had already awakened twice. It was too difficult for him to awaken it thrice. Lu Ming decided to put aside his sovereign God energy for now and cultivate other divine powers. He would wait until his other divine powers had awakened their 2nd awakening. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. Lu Ming had used up all his purgatory points. Let's go to the purgatory arena again. Lu Ming left the God statue garden and went to the purgatory arena again to participate in the battles. Since the incident with Lu Ming, the management of the purgatory arena had become stricter. There were a few Sir God realm experts guarding the arena at all times. They had to scan every challenger with their spiritual consciousness. With their cultivation base, if they scanned carefully with their spiritual consciousness, they would definitely be able to see the opponent's cultivation base. Once they found a challenger whose cultivation base exceeded the rules, they would immediately take action to suppress or even kill the challenger. This prevented people like Lu Ming from being assassinated by high-level experts. This was also good. Lu Ming could fight without worry even if his identity was exposed. Once Lu Ming used his full strength, almost no one could defeat him. Soon he had won 50 consecutive battles. Then, the Purgatory Arena arranged for more challengers to fight. However, they still couldn't stop Lu Ming. 60 consecutive victories, 70 consecutive victories, 80 consecutive victories. Soon, he had won 100 consecutive battles. At this time, Lu Ming had to face the attacks of 30 experts at the same time. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. He held the overbearing God spear in his hand and swept away thousands of enemies. The spear radiance burst out, blowing the geniuses out of the arena one by one. Not long after, the 30 experts were all sent flying by him. What a terrifying fighting strength! Lu Ming's strength is really astonishing. No wonder he is the new number 3. Recently, the first area has been swept away by the new students. Previously, Di Jenny, Chu Chenkong, and the others had won more than 100 consecutive battles. We can't go on like this. We can't do anything about it. Every time a new student joins, there will be a group of top geniuses who will sweep away the Purgatory Arena. After they break through to the 3rd realm of the King God realm, they will go to the 2nd area. The first area will be much better. Yeah. Moreover, this batch of newcomers is even more terrifying. We should just bear with it. Many people sighed. However, Lu Ming's challenge didn't stop. His winning streak continued. In the end, Lu Ming had won 150 consecutive battles. The number of people besieging him had reached 50. These 50 people even formed a great formation. Lu Ming finally felt the pressure. After exchanging a few hundred moves, he finally defeated his opponent and won 150 consecutive battles. At this moment, Lu Ming's purgatory points had reached 11325. These points were enough for Lu Ming to cultivate in the God Statue Garden for more than 30 years. Lu Ming finished his challenge and went back to the God Statue Garden to cultivate. Just like that, Lu Ming's days were peaceful again. He went to different cultivation holy lands and cultivated peacefully. Just like that, another 100 years passed. It had been 400 years since Lu Ming had joined the Great Void Imperial Sacred Institute. At this moment, Lu Ming received a message from Blue Merchant. Lu Ming disguised himself and left the Great Void Imperial Sacred Institute to meet with Blue Merchant. Lu Ming, you have been in the Sacred Academy of the Great Void Royal Family for 400 years. According to the rules of the Sacred Academy of the Great Void Royal Family, you will be sent out to carry out a mission when you reach the age of 500. However, I'm worried that the Grand Preceptor's residence, the Lan family, or the War God clan will harm you while you're away. You have to be prepared. Blue Merchant warned him. He was quite worried. Don't worry, Lan Shu. I'll be careful. Lu Ming nodded. Over the years, I've refined some formation flags, talismans, and other items. Take them and distribute them to Autumn Moon and Ling. You can use them to protect yourself when you're carrying out missions. Blue Merchant handed Lu Ming a storage ring. Chapter 3249. Lu Ming took the storage ring from Blue Merchant and scanned it with his spiritual sense. He found that it was filled with array flags, array discs, talismans, and other items. Each of them shone brightly and were extraordinary. Blue Merchant's soul power was already very strong. Ever since his stellar core was destroyed, he had been studying arrays and equipment. He was very skilled in this field. Thank you, Lan Shu. Lu Ming thanked him. Go, but be careful. Blue Merchant said. Lu Ming bade farewell and headed to the Great Void Imperial Court. Kid, I can teach you how to refine some things for self-defense. Gu Mo's voice sounded along the way. Sure. Lu Ming nodded. Gu Mo's origin was mysterious. He was definitely an old monster who had lived for countless years. The things he said would definitely be extraordinary. Lu Ming still remembered that when he was in the Kongshan school, he was controlled by the Dragon Mountain. At that time, his cultivation was still very weak. Guimo taught him how to refine some array discs and successfully tricked the Dragon Mountain. Now that his cultivation had improved greatly, the things he refined would definitely be more extraordinary. Then, Guimo told Lu Ming a lot of materials and asked him to buy them. Lu Ming disguised himself and went to a market in the Saint Capital to buy materials. The Great Void Saint Capital was extremely prosperous. There were even other empires of the same level, ancient countries, sacred dynasties, and ancient races that came to do business. It really had everything. Soon, Lu Ming bought a lot of materials and almost emptied Lu Ming's fortune. After returning to the Great Void Imperial Court, Lu Ming began to refine. After refining, Lu Ming found Autumn Moon and Lan Ling and gave them some array discs and array flags for self-defense. Then, Lu Ming continued to cultivate. Just like that, 100 years passed. It had been 500 years since Lu Ming joined the Great Void Imperial Court. At this time, every new student received the news that they would be sent out to carry out a mission. Not everyone's mission was the same. Some were the same, while others were different. Lu Ming, Autumn Moon, and Lan Ling looked at each other and realized that their missions were different. The three of them bid farewell to each other. Lu Ming followed the mission's instructions and came to a large hall. There were already thousands of young geniuses gathered here. Obviously, these people had the same mission as Lu Ming. After a while, a few old men walked into the hall. Your mission this time is to go to the Black Jade Gold Mine and guard it for 100 years. This time, we will escort you there. Let's go. One of the old men said and then walked out. Everyone followed the elders and headed towards the Black Jade Gold Mine. In a courtyard within the Crown Prince's manor, Dark Knight Rose slowly drank wine and said softly, "Sent to the Black Jade Gold Mine." Hee, Lu Ming, then the Black Jade Gold Mine will be your burial ground. Imperial Advisor's residence, Wu family. Black Jade Gold Mine? That's a good place. Lu Ming, let me send you on your way. Deep within the Wu family, a voice whispered. At the same time, the Lan family, War God family, and Abysmal Heavenly King's residence all received the news that Lu Ming would be guarding the Black Jade Gold Mine for 100 years. All the major forces started to take action. The Black Jade Gold Mine was located in the north of the Great Void Imperial Court. If they took the teleportation portal, it would take a long time. Therefore, they entered a wormhole and traveled through the void before taking the teleportation portal to the Black Jade Gold Mine. A month later, a huge planet appeared in front of them. Wormholes are faster. If we took the teleportation portal, It would take a few years. Lu Ming exclaimed. Unfortunately, there weren't many wormholes in the Taishu dynasty and they couldn't be everywhere. Wormholes were generally formed naturally by heaven and earth. However, some powerful forces had the ability to create their own wormholes. That was terrifying. At least, the Taishu dynasty couldn't do it. The Black Jade Gold Mine wasn't on a planet with life but a resource planet. There was a lot of black jade gold ore on it. Black jade gold was the best material for refining divine artifacts. Let's go! An old man in the lead dove down toward the Black Jade Gold planet. Soon they saw a huge mine. There were countless people working in the mine. Lu Ming glanced around and found that most of the people working were tall, burly, and ferocious-looking creatures. Barbarian tribe. Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he recognized them. In the south of the Taishu dynasty, there was a powerful tribe called the Barbarian tribe. The Barbarian tribe was very powerful. Their overall strength wasn't much weaker than the Taishu dynasty and they occupied a vast galaxy. The Barbarian tribe often attacked the Taishu dynasty. Therefore, there was a large number of troops stationed in the south of the Taishu dynasty and they often fought with the Barbarian tribe. The Barbarian tribe in the Black Jade Gold Mine were captured from the battlefield and forced to do hard labor. There were soldiers in armor patrolling all over the Black Jade Gold Mine. If any barbarian tribe wanted to resist, they would kill them directly. The Black Jade Gold Mine was guarded by an army. The name of this army was very simple. It was called the Black Jade Army. For the next 100 years, Lu Ming and the rest would cooperate with the Black Jade Army and guard this mine for 100 years as a form of training. You all wait here. We will go to the general of the Black Jade Army to take over. An old man instructed them and then flew into the mine. Not long after, a group of people came and led Lu Ming and the rest to a place to stay. Lu Ming was assigned to a cave residence. This cave residence was actually a mine. It was quite large and the walls of the mine were black and extremely hard. Crack, crack, crack. As soon as they entered the mine, Chiu flew out and opened his mouth, gnawing at the walls of the mine. Soon he had gnawed a big hole in the wall. This guy, Lu Ming smiled. After so many years, Chiu's cultivation had improved greatly. He had broken through to the peak of the 4th King God realm. He was not far from the 5th King God realm. However, during this time, Lu Ming had been busy cultivating and had forgotten to take care of Chiu. He had not given Chiu much metal materials. Chiu was probably starving. Lu Ming let Chiu gnaw as he sat down cross-legged and rested. At this time, there was only one palace in the Black Jade Gold Mine. This palace was the residence of the general of the Black Jade Army, Biqua. In the main hall, Biqua was meeting with a skinny old man. Brother Lu, may I know why the crown prince is looking for me? The general of the Black Jade Army, Biqua, was a tan man. He poured a cup of wine for the skinny old man and asked, "The crown prince wants you to kill someone." The skinny old man took a deep breath and said slowly, "Kill someone?" Biqua asked calmly, "A student of the Great Void Imperial Sacred Academy. His name is Lu Ming. He is carrying out a mission in your Black Jade Gold Mine. He has to guard it for 100 years. Chapter 3250. A student of the Great Void Imperial Academy? Biqua's expression changed slightly. If news of such a prodigy being killed gets out, those old guys from the Great Void Imperial Academy will find trouble with me. Hee, don't try to play dumb with me. In the Black Jade Gold Mine, there are often riots from the Barbarian tribe. There are even Starfield bandits who come to steal Black Jade Gold. Isn't it normal for a few people to die? When the time comes, just push them away. Also, the Crown Prince promised that as long as you kill Lu Ming, he will personally transfer you to the Saint Capital and make you the general of the Imperial Guards. The skinny old man said, "What? The general of the Imperial Guards?" Biqua's heart skipped a beat as he exclaimed. His eyes were burning with passion. He had spent enough time in this godforsaken Black Jade Gold Mine. Moreover, there was no future in this place. Where was the most promising place in the Great Void Divine Capital? Naturally, it was the Imperial Guards. Once he entered the Imperial Guards, his future would be limitless. Now, Many of the generals who were in charge of the millions of troops were from the Imperial Guard. He dreamed of being transferred to the Imperial Guards. Don't worry. Brother Lu, please tell the Crown Prince not to worry. I will handle this matter properly and not leave any traces behind. Biqua said. That's good. The skinny old man took a sip of tea and squinted his eyes, emitting a shocking killing intent. Soon, Lu Ming had been in the Black Jade gold mine for a month. This month was very peaceful. Nothing much happened. Lu Ming's daily task was to patrol a corner of the mine for a few hours. After that, he could go back and cultivate. That was carefree. On this day, Lu Ming finished his patrol and returned to his cave abode. But as soon as he entered the cave abode, Lu Ming felt his heartbeat quicken and his hair stand on end. Danger! Lu Ming did not hesitate and moved a few meters to the side. Puchi! A blood-red blade light slashed at the place where Lu Ming was standing, creating a deep hole in the hard ground. That showed how powerful it was. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Then, several rays of saber gleams burst out and slashed toward Lu Ming from several directions. Chio chio. Lu Ming's heart stirred, and the ball on his wrist wriggled, turning into a suit of armor that covered Lu Ming's entire body. Kill! Lu Ming burst forth. The Tyrant God's spear appeared and swept out. When the Tyrant God's spear swept out, there were also flashes of lightning that were incomparably dazzling as they bombarded the few blade lights. Clang, clang. A series of collisions rang out, and several blade lights were swept away. Following that, the divine power in Lu Ming's body erupted, and the Tyrant God's spear turned into a resplendent rainbow light, shooting towards a certain direction. A blood-curdling scream rang out as a figure was struck by the Tyrant God's spear. The spear pierced through his body and nailed him to the wall of the cave. Their figures flashed, and a total of 4 black-clad men appeared around Lu Ming. Each of them held a scarlet saber in their hands. Not good, this person's strength is stronger than I imagined. Someone said solemnly. The person that Lu Ming had nailed to death was a 6th-layer King God Realm cultivator. Moreover, he had awakened his divine power origin factor once. Even though there were so many of them, he was still killed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's strength was beyond their imagination. Naturally, they didn't know how much progress Lu Ming had made in the past few years. Currently, his cultivation had reached the peak of the 2nd-layer King God Realm. The greatest improvement was in his various divine power origin factors. Now, he had awakened the origin divine power factor of all 10 types of divine powers twice. Yes, all 10 of his divine powers had been awakened twice. Lu Ming's fighting strength had increased tremendously. He could release terrifying power with just a slight movement of his divine power. With Chiochio's help, it wasn't too difficult to kill a 6th-layer King God Realm cultivator who had awakened once. Tell me who sent you here. The Wu family, the Lan family, or the War God family? Lu Ming shouted coldly. Go to hell and ask. Kill. The remaining 4 people shouted coldly and continued to attack Lu Ming. They slashed out terrifying saber lights. The remaining 4 people were all 6th-layer King God Realm cultivators. One of them had even awakened twice. Being able to awaken twice at the 6th-layer King God Realm was already considered a genius. You're courting death. Lu Ming shouted coldly. The God's Gate appeared above his head and pressed down. Then, the Tyrant God's spear swept out. Lu Ming burst out with all his strength and used all his skills. With Chiochio's help, his fighting strength was shocking. Although the 4 black-clothed men were strong, they were still suppressed by Lu Ming. Bang! One of the black-clothed men was hit by the long spear and was sent flying. He crashed into the wall of the cave and his body exploded. He died on the spot. Then, the God's Gate pressed down. The black-clothed man screamed and his body exploded. In an instant he had killed 2 people. Fight him to the death. The remaining 2 people shouted. Their divine power ignited and they charged at Lu Ming like men on fire. Yin Yang got eyes. Lu Ming muttered. His eyes suddenly turned pitch black like 2 black holes. Runes suddenly appeared in front of the 2 black-clothed men. They were like threads that covered the 2 black-clothed men. The 2 black-clothed men didn't even have time to scream. Their bodies cracked into pieces and turned into ashes. The 5 black-clothed men who had come to assassinate Lu Ming were all killed. Ever since the sun and moon divine energy awakened the origin divine power, the yin-yang god eyes have become stronger. Lu Ming was overjoyed and his eyes returned to normal. The yin-yang god eyes required the sun and moon divine energy to control at the same time. Now that the 2 divine powers had awakened twice, its power was even more terrifying. Also, the divine eye's heavenly energy had an additional effect on the yin-yang god eyes. Now that Lu Ming had used the full power of the yin-yang god eyes, its power was even stronger than the origin secret technique. The origin of this secret technique was shocking. Lu Ming had suspected that it had something to do with the divine eyes Lord of Heaven. However, Lu Ming had asked Autumn Moon, and Autumn Moon said that there was no such secret technique in the inheritance of the divine eyes Lord of Heaven. However, it was very taxing to use it. Lu Ming's eyes were sore. Who sent these people? Lu Ming frowned. Amazing, really amazing. I didn't expect you to grow so fast. At this moment, a cold laugh came from outside the cave. Who is it? Lu Ming shouted coldly and retreated. Swoosh, swoosh. Their bodies flashed and a few more figures entered the cave. There were 3 of them in total. They were also wearing black robes, but they were empty-handed. They didn't have any weapons in their hands. They were different from the previous group. Lu Ming, it seems that you've offended a lot of people. So many people want to kill you. However, these people are stupid. If they want to send someone, they should send someone stronger. They should send a few experts in the 6th King God realm. One of them sneered and stared at Lu Ming coldly. Chapter 3251. Judging from the words of the man in black, he did not seem to be from the same group as the previous group. Who sent you here? Lu Ming asked coldly. He, it doesn't matter if I tell you. You are destined to die for killing the people of the abysmal heavenly king mansion. The man in black in the middle sneered. You are from the abysmal heavenly king mansion. It seems like you are very confident that you can kill me. Lu Ming said. The fact that the other party revealed his identity showed that he was very confident. We have seen all your moves. Killing you is as easy as flipping my hand. One of the men in black sneered. Then the 3 men in black emitted a powerful aura. Wisps of ghostly fog filled the air and pressed down on Lu Ming. 8th layer Divine King Realm, 7th layer Divine King Realm. Lu Ming's expression changed. One of the 3 assassins from the abysmal heavenly king mansion was in the 8th layer Divine King Realm, while the other 2 were in the 7th layer Divine King Realm. It was obvious that they had awakened their origin divine force factor. It would be easy for them to kill Lu Ming. Although Lu Ming could kill experts in the 6th layer Divine King Realm, there was a huge gap between the 7th layer Divine King Realm and the 6th layer Divine King Realm. The 7th layer Divine King Realm was a high-level Divine King. With Lu Ming's current strength, he was not a match for the 7th layer Divine King Realm experts, even if they were the most ordinary 7th layer Divine King Realm experts. Normally, it would not be difficult for those who had reached the 7th layer Divine King Realm to awaken their origin divine force factor as long as their talent was not too bad. With such strength, there was no way they could defeat Lu Ming. Unfortunately, Lu Ming was already prepared. Swoosh. Lu Ming retreated quickly. The 3 assassins from the abysmal heavenly king mansion charged at Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming waved his hands and said, "Open!" Buzz. 7 array flags appeared around the cave dwelling. As soon as the 7 array flags appeared, countless runes shone and formed a huge array. A godly light flashed and pierced through the body of an assassin of the 7th king god layer. His corpse fell to the ground. Damn it! That brat has already set up the formation. Let's go! The remaining 2 9 Nether Heavenly King Mansion assassins were shocked and were about to rush out of the cave. Don't you think it's too late to leave now? Lu Ming sneered. With a wave of his hand, 3 array discs flew out, transforming into beams of light that wrapped around the 2 assassins. Then, the formation flag glowed. Another godly light flew out and killed another cultivator of the 7th king god layer. Lu Ming, you deserve to die. You have offended the 9th underworld heavenly king residence. Your fate is sealed. You will die without a burial ground. The remaining killer roared. His cultivation base was the highest at the 8th Divine King realm. He was extremely strong. He struggled crazily, making the light around him shake violently, as if it was going to collapse at any moment. Now, the one who will die without a burial ground is you. Lu Ming continued to control the formation flag. A beam of godly light flew out and pierced the assassin's body. However, the assassin's divine energy was indeed strong. He did not die immediately and was still struggling. Lu Ming rushed over and controlled the Dominator's gate to suppress the assassin. Bang! The Dominator's gate hit the assassin's head with a loud bang. The assassin's head was not smashed open, but blood flowed out. An 8th Divine King Realm cultivator is so strong. Lu Ming was shocked. If he had not set up the formation flag and disc beforehand, he would have been in danger. At that moment, the formation flag glowed and another beam of godly light flew out. This time, it pierced the assassin's glabella and destroyed his soul. Finally, the assassin was killed. The 3 experts of the 9th Underworld Heavenly King residence were all killed. Fortunately, I have Lan Shu's formation flag and disc. Otherwise, I would have been in danger. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. 2 groups of people. One group is from the 9th Underworld Heavenly King residence. What about the other group? The Lan family? The Wu family or the War God family? Lu Ming pondered. Cold, murderous intent flashed in his eyes. These people were still bent on killing him. When I rise in the future, these forces will all be wiped out. Then, Lu Ming kept the storage rings of the 2 groups of assassins. As for the corpses, he burned them into ashes. He searched the storage rings for a while but did not find anything useful. He also did not know which force sent the other group of assassins. It seems that the Black Jade gold mine is not safe. I have to be more careful in the future. I have to report this to the general here and ask him to send more people to guard. Lu Ming pondered and then walked out of the cave. He planned to find the general of the Black Jade army and tell him about this. However, when Lu Ming walked out of the cave for a while, he was shocked and stopped in his tracks. Something is not right. The battle just now should have caused some commotion. Why didn't the Black Jade army come to check it out? Lu Ming suddenly thought of this. He then looked around and realized that there was not a single Black Jade army in the vicinity. Usually, there would be many Black Jade army patrolling nearby. But now, there was not a single one. What's going on? Could it be that the Black Jade army knew that I would be assassinated and deliberately sent people away? Or is there another reason? Lu Ming frowned. He felt that this matter was not that simple. At this moment, Lu Ming saw some figures flying towards him. These people were wearing black armor. They were the sergeants of the Black Jade army. They're here. Am I overthinking? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He was puzzled. Lu Ming. The leader of the burly men flew over with a smile. General Song, you're looking for me? Lu Ming asked tentatively. This person was a deputy general of the Black Jade army. That's right. The leader of the burly men nodded and said, the general asked us to find you and assign you a mission. He wants you to patrol a mine. Just patrolling the mine? Nothing else? Lu Ming asked. Nothing else. Deputy General Song shook his head. Lu Ming was puzzled. He thought that the other party was here to check on the movement just now. However, the other party did not mention anything. This made Lu Ming puzzled. All right, let's go, Lu Ming said. Then he followed Deputy General Song and the rest into the mine. Not long after, they came to a mine. This mine was pitch black, and cold yin qi constantly emitted from it. It felt incomparably horrifying. Why is there no one in this mine? Lu Ming asked. Oh, this is an abandoned mine. I thought that there was no more black jade gold. But recently, it was detected again. So, the general asked us to patrol it. Lu Ming, please. Deputy General Song said. General Song, you go first. I'm not familiar with this place. It's better to follow you. Lu Ming smiled. A cold light flashed in Deputy General Song's eyes. However, it disappeared in a flash. However, Lu Ming's spiritual senses were very sharp. He managed to capture this ray of cold light. There's killing intent. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. "Alright, let's go in first." Deputy General Song laughed and then walked towards the mine. Chapter 3252. Deputy General Song was the first to enter the mine. However, Lu Ming noticed that Deputy General Song was nervous. His eyes were bright as he stared at the mine as if he was afraid that something terrible would rush out. Moreover, divine power was surging in his hands. Apparently, he was ready to take action at any time. Furthermore, only a few of them followed Deputy General Song in. The remaining people stood behind Lu Ming, vaguely blocking Lu Ming's escape route. "Lu Ming, please." A man in armor behind Lu Ming said. These people were terrifying. Their auras were dense. Lu Ming estimated that they were all above the 6th King God realm. "All right." Lu Ming nodded silently. He stepped out and walked into the mine cave. As soon as he entered the mine, a cold wind blew on Lu Ming. Even with Lu Ming's cultivation, he couldn't help but shiver. The mine was gloomy and filled with yin qi. Lu Ming felt like he had walked into a ghost town. Behind him, the men in armor followed. They scattered behind Lu Ming, their faces solemn. "This mine is strange. Something is wrong." In Gumo's sea of consciousness, he heard the voice of Gumo. "Gumo, can you see anything?" Lu Ming communicated with Gumo secretly. "If I'm not wrong, many peerless experts have died in this mine a long time ago. Moreover, there are many of them. They are filled with resentment. I'm afraid there is a great danger." Gumo said. "These people are indeed lying." Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. Deputy General Song said that this was just an abandoned mine. Now that they had discovered some ores, they were here to inspect. This was obviously a lie. This place was very dangerous. No wonder Deputy General Song and the others were so solemn. They were up to no good. Lu Ming was sure that these people were up to no good. Deputy General Song led the way. Lu Ming and the others followed behind. They slowly flew into the mine. The mine was very dark. There was no light. However, with their eyesight, they could see through it. That is, suddenly, Lu Ming saw a pile of mud on the side. Beside the mud, there were several skeletons lying there. The flesh and blood of an expert. That pile of mud is formed from the flesh and blood of a peerless expert. It contains a terrifying killing intent. Anyone who touches it will die. The bone demon cried out in alarm, appearing very serious. Lu Ming's eyes flashed, but he didn't say anything. At this point, the expressions of Deputy General Song and company turned solemn. They stopped and looked in a certain direction. Lu Ming looked in that direction and his heart jumped because he saw a pile of corpses. There were barbarians and there were also armored soldiers, but they were all dead. Their faces were filled with fear, as if they had encountered something terrifying. "Deputy General Song, didn't you say that this is an abandoned mine? Why did so many people die here?" Lu Ming asked in a low voice. Silently, a bunch of formation flags and talisman seals appeared in his hands. Hee. At this time, Deputy General Song sneered and said, "Lu Ming, what do you think of this place?" "What do you mean?" Lu Ming said in a low voice. "It's very simple. This place will be your burial ground. How about it?" Deputy General Song finally revealed a ferocious killing intent when he said this. Lu Ming's pupils shrank. "You want to kill me? But who sent you to kill me?" "I'll tell you so that you can give up. Naturally, it was General Bi Kwa who sent us. Do you know why he chose this place? Because this is not an abandoned mine. It's a new mine, a newly discovered mine. However, this mine is extremely strange. Those who entered at the beginning all died mysteriously. No one will suspect you if you die here. Go in peace, heh." Deputy General Song kept sneering. This time, Lu Ming was really shocked. These people were actually sent by General Bi Kwa of the Black Jade Army to kill him. Why did Bi Kwa want to kill him? Among Lu Ming's enemies, who could command Bi Kwa? Seeing Lu Ming's shocked expression, Deputy General Song felt very happy and carefree. To be honest, those who were sent to work in a place like the Black Jade Mine had basically lost all hope in the future. It was very difficult for them to advance. Therefore, when they saw a prodigy like Lu Ming, they were very unhappy. And when they saw Lu Ming's shock and despair, they felt very happy. To put it bluntly, they were perverts. Therefore, he took his time to recount the matter. He wanted to see Lu Ming's expression of despair and shock. What's that? At this time, Lu Ming suddenly looked behind Deputy General Song. His eyes widened, as if he had seen something terrifying. Deputy General Song's hair stood on end. His heartbeat accelerated. In great shock, he hurriedly turned back. This mine was too terrifying. When he brought Lu Ming in, he was already scared witless. At this time, it was completely a conditioned reflex. But when he turned back, he saw nothing. And Lu Ming seized the opportunity to attack. With a wave of his hand, more than 10 talismans flew towards the 7 or 8 armored burly men behind him. Explode! Lu Ming shouted in a low voice, and more than 10 talismans exploded. In the instant that these talisman seals exploded, bursts of black lightning burst forth, enveloping 7 or 8 black-armored burly men within. This was the 9 Nether Lightning Talisman. It was not given to him by Blue Merchant, but taught to him by the Bone Demon. It was very powerful. The 7 or 8 armored burly men screamed. The bodies of the weakest ones exploded, and they died on the spot. Although the stronger ones managed to block it, they were seriously injured and coughed up blood. "Kid, you're courting death." Deputy General Song finally reacted. He knew that he had been tricked by Lu Ming. With a roar, he punched out. A terrifying fist print blasted towards Lu Ming, causing the entire void to tremble. Although Lu Ming retreated rapidly, his speed was not comparable to the opponent's fist energy. Deputy General Song was a peak divine king. He was too powerful. At the critical moment, Lu Ming grabbed a handful of talismans and array flags and threw them out. 3 array flags landed in the air, emitting light. A strong light appeared in front of him. And those talismans formed all kinds of shields and iron walls. These were all defensive talismans. More than 10 layers of defense appeared in front of Lu Ming. And Lu Ming retreated rapidly, transforming into a green-armored ancient god. Ice chains and 9 layers of crimson gold armor appeared. However, Deputy General Song's fist energy was too terrifying. It crushed through. More than 10 layers of defense exploded one after another. In the end, there was still a terrifying force that bombarded Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming grunted and retreated rapidly. More than 10 bones in his body were broken, and he vomited blood. The difference in cultivation was too great. If not for the more than 10 layers of talismans, this punch would have smashed Lu Ming into ashes. Even so, Lu Ming was seriously injured. "Kid, you must die today," Deputy General Song shouted coldly. He led the remaining armored burly men and charged towards Lu Ming. "Explode!" At this moment, Lu Ming shouted again. Boom! The pile of mud on the sides suddenly exploded. Chapter 3253. When Lu Ming attacked just now, he had silently thrown a talisman seal onto the pile of mud. At this moment, he was pushed back by Deputy General Song and distanced himself from the mud. Without hesitation, Lu Ming formed a hand seal, and the talisman seal immediately exploded. The talisman seal exploded like a bomb, and the pile of mud splashed everywhere. Instantly, a series of screams rang out. The bodies of Deputy General Song and the armored soldiers had turned into beehives, with holes all over their bodies. Lu Ming gasped a breath of cold air. The power of the mud exceeded his expectations. It was extremely terrifying. Like a bullet hitting tofu, it flew past the armored soldiers and left a hole in their bodies. Even Deputy General Song, who was a peak divine king, could not block it at all. Fortunately, Lu Ming was pushed back by Deputy General Song and was far enough away. Moreover, he was prepared and was not splashed by the mud. Ah! The armored soldiers who had their bodies pierced by the mud screamed miserably. A horrifying scene appeared. Their bodies quickly shriveled and rotted. In just a few breaths, only a skeleton was left. No. Deputy General Song's cultivation was higher, and he lasted a little longer. He did not die immediately, but he could only watch as his body rotted. He was powerless to stop it. His eyes were filled with terror. "Damn it, damn bastard. You will die a horrible death. I will inform the general. You can't escape." You will come down to accompany me, Deputy General Song shouted hysterically. He took out a sound transmission jade talisman and sent out the news. Once the news spread, Deputy General Song's body completely turned into a skeleton. A peak divine king had fallen just like that. We can't stay here for long. Let's go. Lu Ming did not hesitate. After swallowing an elixir, he managed to stabilize his injuries. He then dashed out of the mine cave and rushed outside. He could no longer stay in the Black Jade gold mine. Lu Ming planned to leave. Even if he did not complete the mission, it was better to be punished by the Great Void Imperial Academy than to be killed here. However, Lu Ming did not fly far before his expression changed. Rumble. One after another, armored armies crossed the void, stomping on the void as they charged toward Yifutian. Not only that, but there were also armored troops flying over from other directions. The black mass of troops sealed off the entire void. Their auras were incomparably violent, blocking off all escape routes. The Black Jade army was mobilized. Boom! At this moment, in the depths of the mine, a terrifying aura shot up to the sky. The vast pressure enveloped the entire Black Jade gold mine. This was definitely a Divine Lord realm powerhouse. Moreover, he was not an ordinary Divine Lord. Among the Divine Lords, he was considered an expert. In the mine, countless slave miners trembled, their faces full of fear. Damn it! Lu Ming bellowed, his expression extremely ugly. Deputy General Song was right. This matter was indeed ordered by the Black Jade Army's General Biqua. Otherwise, no one could mobilize so many Black Jade Army soldiers. Just who was commanding Biqua? At this moment, Lu Ming had no time to think. The way out had been sealed, and there was no way to escape. Enter that mine. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a trace of viciousness. That mine was extremely strange. Now, only that mine could help him. Otherwise, he would have no other way out. Although he had various array flags and talismans refined by Blue Merchant and some talismans refined by Bone Devil, those array flags and talismans were still effective against divine kings. Against divine lords, they were simply courting death. Lu Ming turned and left. He dashed toward the mine cave and dashed into it. He's there. Chase him. A group of armored troops saw Lu Ming and chased after him. However, when they reached the entrance of the mine, they stopped, their faces filled with fear. This mine was a newly discovered one. It was very strange and many people had died there. It made them feel terrified, so they did not dare to enter. After Lu Ming rushed into the mine, he began to think of a countermeasure. They will definitely come in. I can't just sit here and wait for my death. Lu Ming's mind raced. Kid, there are many things you can use in this mine. There's more than one pile of that mud. You can set up some killing traps, Bone Devil said, and then taught Lu Ming how to set up the traps. Lu Ming waved his hand and array flags flew to every corner of the mine. Then, with a flash of light, they hid themselves and disappeared. Lu Ming kept waving his hand. Array flags and array discs flew out continuously. Some talismans also flew to the mud. The talismans were light and floated above the mud. As long as Lu Ming controlled them, they could explode at any time. The mine was very big and had rugged rocks of strange shapes. The terrain was very complicated. After setting up, Lu Ming burned the remains of Song Bian and the others to ashes. Then, he found a secluded place to hide and waited quietly. At the entrance of the mine, more and more armored troops gathered and surrounded the mine. However, no one entered. Suddenly, a terrifying aura came. The armored troops took the initiative to move aside and a burly man strode over. This burly man was the general of the Black Jade Army, Biqua. General, that kid is hiding in the mine. Someone reported to Biqua. That kid thinks he can survive by hiding in the mine. What a joke. Biqua snorted coldly. His eyes were exceptionally cold. His original plan was to have Song Bian and the others lure Lu Ming into the mine and then kill Lu Ming. At that time, he could announce to the outside world that Lu Ming had barged into the strange mine and was killed by the strangeness of the mine. This way, it could be said to be flawless. He never expected that he would receive Song Bian's transmission. Song Bian and the others were all wiped out, but Lu Ming was not dead. He was immediately furious and led the army to block all the exits. That's good. This general originally planned to send people to explore the mine. Now I can kill someone while I'm at it. Beak sneered coldly. Then he looked at the burly men of the Black Jade Army and said, Lieutenant Wei, Lieutenant Liu, you take people to kill that kid and then explore the mine. The burly men's faces changed. However, they had to obey Beak's order. They could only brace themselves and take the order. Each of them took dozens of soldiers and stormed into the mine. There were a total of 3 deputy generals, leading close to 100 armored soldiers, entering the mine. The lowest cultivation base of these armored soldiers was at the 4th sky of the King God realm. They were the elites of the Black Jade Army. After entering the mine, they spread out carefully and moved forward slowly. Soon, they had moved forward a distance and entered the trap that Lu Ming had set up. Almost there. Almost there, Lu Ming hid in the dark, watching them silently. Slowly, one by one, the armored soldiers fell into the trap that Lu Ming had set up. Time to send you on your way. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a murderous intention. He made a hand seal.